Coming to you live here from Indian Lake, formerly Lewistown Reservoir. It's a reservoir in Logan County, Western Ohio, in the United States, approximately 20 miles southeast, or 32 kilometers southeast of Lima. Not in Peru, but in Ohio, the state. It's also built in the beginning of the Great Miami River, which TIL is not in Florida, but in Ohio. We are here today with episode number 38. No L on my forehead this week. 38 of the... Yes, 38, not 39. This week of the podcast. As always, I'm of course your host, Yaku of Yakuzaku, and with me, as always, is el susurrador de Zoomers, que es conocido por usar pimienta, like _VIP, and of course, as per usual, we are being produced by Tiwarka Portalu Kitori Posiada Wiele Solnijek 16 Squad Senseki Kuro. How we all doing?
What's up, Yaku? What's up? It's great to be here. Great to be back. I like that we're like loading into, or we're spawning into like 4 different areas at once. You said like India, Lima, then Miami River, and then it's all in Ohio.
It's all
Indian Lake, Miami
south
River,
of Lima,
yeah.
right by the Miami River. but it's all in Ohio.
There you go. It's fine. But yes, it's great to be back here again. We are a little bit late when it comes to our podcast. Usually we're on Wednesdays or Thursdays. Usually we're in the center of the week, the middle of the week. But this week we otherwise had events. We've been covering a lot of tournaments, a lot of casting on the channel. We did have to push back the podcast a couple of days here to the weekend to Saturday instead.
Yeah, hashtag blame Rex.
True. But much love to Rex. Much love. Actually, really blame Kung Fu Cup, really. But I mean,
True.
it's fine. So instead, we've moved over here to Saturday for the time being, because of all the events that are occurring over the next couple of weeks in the month of March. Most likely, the podcast is going to be on differing days, so do try to keep up with our schedule, as it will not be on a consistent day as it was usually, just because there are so many events going on. I believe next week it is scheduled for Friday, so next week Friday, not Saturday.
Here, Production Crew actually wants to mention that if you are looking for our streams, they are always on the Twitch calendar, they are always on the TL calendar, they are on. We have a public Google calendar. You can either just look at that, or you can subscribe to it and just have it on your calendar if you want. Where else do we have calendars? There's a bunch of them.
Facebook calendar.
No, we don't have Facebook. But yeah, we have a bunch of public Discord. Discord also has a calendar.
Discord.
So if you want to check when the next stream of whatever is, the options are there.
Or
exactly. So
don't check and have it be a surprise.
just always have the channel open. Always.
Yeah.
There you go. That'll solve any issues. But yeah, so we are here live over the weekend, going over the podcast, going over the week's events. And up first, there's a lot to go through. There's a lot to catch up on. Up first is this week's GLHF interview with Loco.
Indeed. Once again, continuing with our Home Story Cup interviews, as there are still a couple of Korean interviews in the pipe, but obviously, as Zombie Grub has said, those take a little while longer to actually edit and get together. So we're moving on with a couple of the Home Story Cup ones, this time from Loco, continuing a little bit of that trend of the content creators being interviewed here. But as, of course, last week we did have Uppatry, Sal, but from a little bit of a different perspective, of course. Uppatry, I think we've all kind of known him to be more on the streaming side of things, whereas Loco, as he even explained in this video itself, or in this interview, he started with edited video content, got to streaming a little while later, and obviously nowadays he streams a lot, but still very much does videos as kind of his bread and butter.
Yeah, it's really cool to hear from his perspective. This also makes me kind of wish that we spoke a little bit more to Sal about his side of content creation, right? Because I feel like for him, a lot of the interview was more focused and centralized around the NA region, right? Like around the NA scene, NA region. You know, his personal experience, of course, getting to StarCraft. But we didn't really get to hear much from his perspective when it comes to like his stream or his content creation side of things too much here. Just feel like we went a little bit more in depth with Loco, which was cool to hear. I think first things first, I love the little story that he had about how he got into StarCraft. It was very niche and very like out of the blue, but apparently like he had seen Grubby like on a Dutch like interview
On
TV
national
show where
TV.
where they were like asking him about, you know, back in the day
It's
about
like an interview
esports,
program or like a daytime
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
show.
Yeah, they were talking about like video games and how he was making money playing video games, like very boomer kind of like interview talk show sort of stuff from back in the day. But yeah, it was just a wild interview out of nowhere. It was great to see that ZombieGob actually found footage of it and inserted it there as well. Yeah, it's a fun way and really cool to see just something out of the blue that got him into StarCraft.
Yeah, I opened up that video and then I immediately remembered, oh right, I don't speak Dutch. But still, it was nice to see somebody who, you know, one of the OGs, I think, of StarCraft 2, somebody who competed for quite a while back in the early days, but more importantly, I would say, Grubby's big contribution to StarCraft was the fact that it almost felt like he kind of opened up Korea to the foreign audience in a way. He, I think, had one of the first Team House videos back then, which I thought was really cool, and yeah, it was kind of surreal seeing him in kind of that old school, or not necessarily old school, but kind of that more mainstream setting there. Something that wasn't originally broadcast to the internet, I should say.
Yeah, exactly. So it was really cool to see that little gem that was like kind of found and brought to light once again. You know, I look forward to seeing more of ZombieGob's interview when it comes to Home Story Cup. You know, as we mentioned before, this was at Home Story Cup, and there were a lot of people at this year's or the most recent Home Story Cup. So ZombieGob was able to get a lot of interviews, a lot of content, and yeah, Loco, he definitely had a lot to say when it came to like the early days about how he got into StarCraft. More importantly, talking about like other YouTubers and other content creation, how that's kind of changed over time as well, especially from Loco. Something that I actually didn't know. I mean, nowadays there's actually a lot of these guys that actually play RuneScape. I know like Wardy plays RuneScape, Loco plays RuneScape, Steadfast plays RuneScape. I didn't know that was actually his first like videos on YouTube, and I don't know because he said himself that he deleted all of them, but he actually used to have a bunch of RuneScape videos back in the day. Yeah.
I mean, I have no experience with RuneScape personally, so I was like, "Oh, that's cool," but I didn't really think too much deeper than that.
It's just they all still play it now. I didn't know that's how they started making content on YouTube. It's like it's something more that we didn't know about them, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree. When I first started getting into StarCraft 2, and when I looked at Loco, I was like, okay, oldest videos, and yeah, they were his old guides and his old, like, specifically they were Zerg guides, and be like, this is how you beat Marine Marauder Mine Medevac or whatever back in the day. This is how you play against mech or what have you. Which I was like, oh, that's cool. Didn't have much use for them back then, but because obviously I got into StarCraft around the time of Legacy of the Void, so I was like, oh, that's cool.
For sure.
This other what's it called that you have, this stream highlight that you've put on YouTube, that's where I'm at.
For sure. This is also where I kind of wish he was asked a little bit more about his own content on YouTube. Like, they spoke about it a little bit about, I think there was a line towards the end of the interview where he emphasized how even though StarCraft has gone down a little bit, specifically on YouTube, not on the streaming side of things on Twitch, but specifically content and videos made on YouTube actually are still really popular. I think he had a line saying that like right now StarCraft still gets millions of views on YouTube. Like, he does really well. Winter, Euthermal, and a lot of the other Pig as well, a lot of the other YouTubers, Hearthstone, they get a lot of views on YouTube and they're quite successful there. And there's and like if you were to look at the viewership on YouTube and look at the viewership on Twitch, you'd get like two completely different kind of like frames of mind when it comes to like the state of StarCraft.
Absolutely, and it's also different audiences as well. A lot of time, this is true not just of the people who watch the live streams on Twitch and then the VODs on YouTube, but also the live streams on YouTube. That's those are completely different people than the people who are watching on Twitch. It blew my mind when I first heard about that, or when I first realized that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't think about because you're right. It's a different audience, and I do think that the Twitch audience is a lot more, quote unquote, hardcore. Like the Twitch audience, they're they're the guys that
Yeah, you
watch
are.
all the all the
Looking at
all
you,
the
Twitch chat.
they watch everything live, right? Like they're a little bit more dedicated when it comes to tuning in, like on a more daily basis. On YouTube, you can watch it whenever you want, right? Whenever you so choose. You don't have to like lock yourself into like a certain time of watching it, and you can watch it at your heart's content, sort of thing.
Yeah, and even if you tune into a stream live on YouTube, a little bit after it first went live, you can just rewind and then watch that. Like, say if the streamer goes on a break for whatever, you could rewind that live as opposed to on Twitch, where you have to open up the channel again. You have to go into past broadcasts, and then even then, sometimes it's not readily available there.
Yeah, well, I guess what I'm getting at is that like if you're only watching Twitch content, if you're only watching these live videos, then you don't know, right? You don't know that there's just so many more people that enjoy StarCraft, that watch StarCraft, that are otherwise watching it on a different platform. And because that, you might have a skewed perception as to the state of the game, as to the state of viewership, as to the state of the audience. It's just a little bit like eye opening when you look over and you see like all these other people enjoying StarCraft, right?
Yeah, as chat's pointing out, one of the audience is Zoomers and one of the audience is Boomers. Which one? To be determined, but that's a distinction.
I mean, it also helps that in general, YouTube is just a bigger platform than Twitch. Like, there's just a bigger audience, bigger live audience, and bigger VOD audience on YouTube. Like, there's just more to pull from there.
And it's going to be a bigger VOD audience on YouTube for in the foreseeable future.
True. But like, that's something that this is something that's really interesting to me, and this also I wish that they spent a little bit more time in the interview for it, right? Like it would have been cool to have heard Loco talk about that experience, right? Talk about the difference between streaming on YouTube, streaming on Twitch, the difference between the audiences and their perception of things. Like again, it does feel like a lot of the people that watch on YouTube, they're a lot more casual, but that also means that they don't typically play the game. They just enjoy watching the game and experiencing the game. Maybe they used to play a couple of years ago, but they don't play anymore. But they still indulge in it. Like it would have been cool to have heard from his perspective, just because he's one of the bigger, if not the biggest, like StarCraft 2 YouTuber out there.
Yeah, I think we fall quite a bit into the trap of just believing that the fan base overall is kind of a monolith, and all kind of shares the same thoughts and things like that. But yeah, it's obviously not true if you looked at the audience on YouTube versus the audience on Twitch. I think another example of that is, you look at the commenters on Reddit versus the commenters on TL. They might have some very, very, very different opinions on things.
100%.
I would like to also point out one more thing, that while Twitch is mostly focused on specifically esports side of things, YouTube also has a lot of campaign content, like a lot of just, single player content for StarCraft specifically, like. And people like Giant Gun Games, like those are big channels. People like Jay Borino, like those are channels that like focus on the single player campaigns, and they also have a big audience that is once again separate from the esports audience for the most part. There is some crossover, but not a lot of it.
Yeah, for sure.
True.
And that's where I wish the interview went a little bit more in the direction of that, just because like I feel like Loco probably has a lot of insight when it comes to that sort of thing and has his own unique perspective, right?
He's somebody who is in both worlds, very much in both worlds.
Yeah. Like he has a lot of casual content on YouTube, and he's also like casting like esports events, right? Like so he's very much so in both. So it would have been really cool to have heard a little bit more from that. We got a little bit of it, but not too much. Which definitely is a bit of a shame. But outside of that, like it was nice to hear some general like thoughts on on StarCraft throughout the ages, throughout all the expansions, is kind of what he went into. I don't know if there was something that caught your mind, Yaku, if you wanted to latch on to.
Yes, actually. It's something that I wanted to nitpick a little bit about. And it's when they started talking a bit about region lock and Loco. He mentioned something along the lines of, oh yeah, it would have been terrible that there was like a little bit of a double standard going on with, because GSL was open, which... I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe GSL wanted it to be open, and it was Blizzard who actually wanted GSL to be Korea only. But then Afrika was like, but if we make it Korea only, then we lose some of the prestige, blah, 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 so we're going to keep it open. Whereas WCS, you had to if you could be a foreigner and you could play in WCS and in GSL as well. There was an incident in, I think, 2018, something like that, where somebody, I think it was True, who actually ran into trouble because he had like visa issues or whatever. But that's not the thing that I'm nitpicking on. The thing that I'm nitpicking on a little bit is that Loco said something along the lines of, oh yeah, it would have been terrible for the Koreans if the foreigners were like, oh yeah, let's pack our bags and go compete in GSL. That actually happened. 2017 to 2019 was the height of the foreigner team house. And that was when
no regrets
the top
team house.
no regrets team house. That was when we had players like Scarlet, Special, Oliver. Oh, well, back then he was going by Time, Elaser.
Cloudy.
They were Cloudy, Neeb. They were playing in GSL and they were also playing in WCS. So that was the thing that happened. Hypothetical that Loco was talking about, it wasn't that much of a hypothetical.
Yeah, I feel like this also goes along the lines of like so much has happened in StarCraft and there's so many errors in StarCraft, but that is like a really fascinating and really exciting time as well, I would say, because it was exciting when there was a team house and they had a rotating roster basically because the team house is always there and open to foreigners. One season a year or maybe another season, like you'd have players like Raynor, as you mentioned, or Neeb or something, and they'd be able to go there for a season of GSL. Like there was a stable place for them to stay if they wanted to play in GSL, and they allowed for that to happen. It was Project Unity. That's the Project Unity team house.
That was what it was called.
And and none of these interviews have spoken about it, and it is more modern, right? As you said, like 2017, 2018. It is technically quote unquote more modern, like StarCraft, but at the same time, it's long. It's like almost 10 years ago, man. Like it's like I feel like it's still worth
5
covering.
years since COVID, and 4 years since CSL took over. So
Okay.
Oh my god.
Speaking of that, okay, I will say it once. Because I feel like that's a repeating trend with these GLJ interviews, that they don't really want to touch like the more modern history. But I feel like it's also important to save the modern history while people still remember it. Because, you know, as time passes on, like those memories will be lost. Like those details will be lost. Even though it seems like, oh, this is like new stuff. Like this will be quickly forgotten.
And I think what's important as well is that I think it's a perception thing, because in my mind, and maybe in Zombergod's mind as well, right? This feels new because like COVID like skewed so much of everyone's perception. Absolutely. Right? Like it's like oh, this happened right before COVID. That was like a couple of years ago. It's like no, it's been a long time. There's been people. Remember, there's viewers that joined during COVID that started watching StarCraft and watching esports during COVID. So they missed out on all of that. I think it's worth covering. I feel.
There are people who started playing during COVID and have surpassed me even in terms of rank.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. So, like, so that's what I feel like it is the sense that the Zombie Girl probably feels like, oh, it's new stuff, so like everyone probably already heard about it by now. But like the reality is, I would say that's not new stuff anymore. Yeah. Like time goes in one direction, right? And that stuff is now a little bit more legacy, I would say, and I it's worth covering, and I don't think it will be, but I think it should be.
Now you're really making me like wish or crave a no regret interview down the pipeline. At some point, if possible, that would be really good.
Yeah, I know he's still around. I think he recently did something with I think Artosis or something, like maybe last month or something. Like he's still like around in the scene in some form or fashion.
Is he back in Canada now?
Yeah, he's back in Canada, and Artosis is back in Canada as well. That's why they. That's why I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah,
it lines up. But so I definitely think it's worth getting into. I don't think these interviews will. I think we spoke about it, right? They're a lot more focused on like Brood War and Wings of Liberty, mainly those two eras. A little bit of Heart of the Swarm. Regardless, that's crazy. the Project Unity thing. And if you remember, because we also learned this from some of the previous interviews, the Korean scene, they actually liked it whenever a foreigner showed up, because it would boost their viewership, and they'd also get excited as well. They're like, oh, hey, look, it's a foreigner. We don't really get to see many of those. Like, we want to see how they play against all the Koreans as well. Like, they'd also, the Korean audience would also typically get excited for it.
Yeah. I mean, that was something that people noticed, right? Way back in the day it was the Korean like cameramen, whenever they were doing B-roll and stuff, they would always when panning out to the crowd, they will always focus on, oh, that's a foreigner, or oh, that's a girl.
Yeah. For sure. It would always be something that they would try to emphasize whenever they could.
Because they were like, yeah, look, see, we are global, guys.
Yeah.
This is proof.
Well, it also typically means that like it's usually like someone traveled to GSL,
Yeah.
right, from internationally just to be there, just to watch it, and then it's sometimes nice to show that, right, that someone went to that effort, went above and beyond to like be a part of StarCraft and be there in the audience as well, for sure. So yeah, that's another period, as you touched on, Yaku. That's another period that it would be nice if they talked about it, if they chronicled it, right, in this documentary series that they're going over right now. They're not. Maybe one day they will.
I feel like that could be its own episode. Like, again, we don't know what the format of the documentary will be, if it's like episodic or if it's going to be like a full movie or something like that. But if it was episodic, I feel like you could do a full 2-parter on Project Unity and like foreigners in Korea.
100%. Like, that's because Project Unity Team House, I was there for a couple of years, right? Like that was and
as early as
at
least 2016, because it was around when Niip won Kespa Cup.
Yeah. And right, because it initially was a little bit smaller, and then they got a bigger house, right? They got a bigger apartment, and that allowed for more people to come in. And I think what's really important about that is that that's the beginning of Oliveira, right? Like, if you want to talk about Oliveira, you got to start at least there, maybe before that. But like because he lived with them before he was big, like before he was like a solid player. Even he was still an up and comer at the time, still like a rookie.
Yeah, I think it was like when he reached GM or something. That's when he was still very much unknown, but he was like, okay, I actually have a chance here. Let me go to Korea and see how much I can really hone my skills.
For sure.
This was like way back in like 2014 or 2015 when he first moved to Korea.
And of course, he went with Cloudy, and I'm sure he had some other like support with him as well,
Jim,
in some way.
Probably.
Or, yeah.
Was Jim? No, Jim was in Korea for a little while, wasn't he?
Jim did go in Korea to play in, I think it was one of the last pro leagues, because IG partnered in.
Right.
So Invictus Gaming sent some of their players to compete.
Right, that was the season where Parting was in Yaoi, right?
Ooh, I think God, it's been quite some time.
I realize that I'm asking us to use our memories. So
true.
Like dig
He joined Yaoi after SKT.
So it's like...
He left SKT to join Yaoi. Your Flash Wolves, right?
Right.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
I think so. Yes. But the other thing that I did want to touch on as well, something that I think a lot of people maybe missed when it was happening at the time. Loco, when talking about like YouTube, when talking about content creation, they did touch on Husky, they touched on HD, they touched on Day 9 as well. And Loco, he was a little bit iffy on the details as to what happened with Husky. And for whatever reason, that gave me like the initiative to just to actually just look up not look up what happened, but to get the tweets themselves, just because if you remember Husky, he was I don't know if you ever watched Husky back in the day. I think he was before your time. Not back
in the day. He was way before my time. He had already stopped doing gaming content by the time Legacy of the Void came out, which was when I got into StarCraft around the time of Legacy of the Void. Husky stopped doing content, I think, towards the end of Heart of Swarm. Or maybe even before that.
Yeah. Husky, if you recall, he was one of the founding members of TGS, of the game station. And of course, Toto Biscuit was a part of that. HD, Day 9, like Jesse Cox, Dodger, like there were a lot of there was a lot going on TGS at the time on the game station. That's where the TGS podcast came from. They eventually turned into Polaris, of course, later on. But at the time, Husky, he was staying with Press Hard to Continue, which was Dodger, and staying with Ro, who was his girlfriend at the time. And he was making, all this content, casting, and then suddenly he kind of disappeared. Like when I say disappeared, he deleted all of his content from YouTube, which was crazy, by the way.
that was what I was about to bring up, where I was like, I wasn't there during the heyday of Husky, but I did see that he had VODs until one day, and I think around 2019 or 2020, when
Far before,
his
far
old
before.
video, or even before that, possibly,
Yeah.
where all of those VODs were just deleted from his channel,
Yeah, yeah.
and
This was
nobody
like
really knew why.
This is like 2016-ish, 2015-ish. So
That
he
was
had
another
deleted.
purge? Jeez.
No, that was the first one. That was and he deleted everything. Not just that though, he also stopped like appearing like in content as well, right? At the time he was making like music videos, and he was, you know, part of even the TGS podcast for a couple of times. But he just completely stepped away. And everyone had known that what he had done was he had taken a more of a managerial role for Ro.
Mhm.
Ro, she started to
cooking
pop
channel.
off really hard with her YouTube channel Nerdy Nummies. Nerdy Nummies is like, you know, it's like kind of like a cooking channel,
was a
but like a
cooking-
cute like gaming
themed,
cooking.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they were like, they
Yeah,
would
very
make things like, here's the Portal Cube cake, or stuff like
yes. Yeah, stuff like that. And she got really big and really huge, and he decided to take more of a role in supporting her in that, right? Many years later, that was when he started posting again. Like he also removed like his socials and everything. Like, well, I should say he just stepped away from all social media and all that stuff, and then he started posting again. And that was when we got a little bit more insight, because like really the community didn't really know what had happened and why he had deleted everything and what had gone on. But the consensus being this was back in 2019. This is when Jesse Cox actually spoke out about it. It was many years of silence since like when he deleted everything back in 2016, 2015, that no one had said anything. But apparently what Husky had done it wasn't just that he had deleted all of his content, he had also cut ties with all of his personal friends and relationships. And
Anyone
the
in the
consensus...
gaming sphere, basically.
Yes. And basically the reasoning for this, from our understanding, was that he wanted to change like his own brand in a way, to help like to help his image. He quote unquote like went all Hollywood basically on his friends, and like kind of abandoned everyone, and he just like kind of burned all these bridges. And no one said anything about it until 2019, when Jesse Cox spoke out, and Georgia also spoke out, and a bunch of other people behind the scenes, like Jeff in Control Robertson and stuff like that, talking about how Husky had basically turned his back on all of his like personal friends.
Yeah, because the thing is, at that point, you mentioned that Rosanna Pensino's channel was like blowing up.
Mm-hmm.
It blew up massively. She was like a top 10 YouTuber. At one point, I think she had the #1 cooking channel by viewership for a little while. It was huge. They were actually getting brand deals and stuff like that. And because of that, a lot of these, shall we say, more mainstream brands perhaps were like, hey, we would love to get something involved, but I don't know. It's like, you know, you come from this kind of sphere, and
I would say they probably weren't saying that. It's probably Husky just wanted to make sure that never came up. Even.
That makes more sense,
Yeah. So as you were saying, right, we don't want to undercut like how big the channel was. Like it was huge, as you said.
Yeah. They didn't want to have any potential liabilities that, in all likelihood, probably wouldn't have been liabilities anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the thing, right? It's that it felt very unnecessary, but that was the decision that he made, and that's also why I would say that upon hearing of all this, like my perception on Husky definitely took a downturn. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people they say like, oh, you know, where'd Husky go? Like I miss him. Like I want to see more of him. But like he, definitely did some questionable actions and 100%. That's 100%. He didn't need to, right? He didn't have to be like that. But he basically like sold out, turned on all of his friends, obviously turned on his community. He didn't care at all about, you know, what it meant to destroy his channel and to delete everything, and what it meant to other people as well. So it was very selfish, and that's also why like it also feels kind of weird whenever people bring up Husky, because they probably don't know for sure, but it's someone that we don't want back in our community, that we had some fun memories of, and it was good while it lasted, but like clearly they kind of almost turned into a different person, or they showed how they really are as a person.
I think you'd be surprised how much people in this community are willing to overlook.
I mean, I would just imagine they just don't know. I would imagine they're just a little bit more uninformed about that, and it's a little bit less little bit more, innocent in that kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was just a good moment to bring it up, just because it came up in the topic of this interview, just as a bit of a reminder, or even just to let people know about what had happened behind the scenes when it came to Husky. And fun fact, Husky, he actually started streaming again like this year, I think.
This year, really?
No, yeah, like a couple of months ago.
remember,
Like he started.
I think it was around the release of the Stormgate Early Access when he started uploading
Mm-hmm.
videos all of a sudden.
That's what it was. Because I vaguely
Yes.
remember at some point he said something like, "Hey, I want to get back into doing gaming content," and then that didn't really materialize that much.
Yeah, well, it's really recent, and I think he even recently started re-releasing some of the old deleted videos, like like he started re-uploading like Bronze League Heroes videos and stuff like that, like again. So it looks like for whatever reason he wants to come back in, maybe a little bit, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Just thought it was worth bringing up. Mm-hmm.
I have to. Yeah, it does seem that he does want to get back in a little bit. I mean, I'm sure he probably did enjoy making those videos back in the day, but it feels like a very different situation compared to, say, Day 9, who boycotted doing Blizzard content specifically because he wanted Bobby Kotick to step down. And then once Bobby stepped down, he went back in. He was like, all right, let's get back in. Let's get back into this.
Yeah, for sure, exactly. Like Day 9's was very different when it comes to him stepping back. I think another reason why I wanted to bring this up is I think we spoke a couple of weeks ago about the downfall of StarCraft 2 in Korea and how it almost felt like the perfect storm that was working against SE2. We were talking about like what happened with Kespa and the perception of SE2 and all that stuff. Yeah. And then
leading into the match fixing scandal, and then even before
that,
so
exactly. We spoke about that last week, right? With Spenno, with the match fixing scandal, and alongside all of that, it feels like the Husky thing as well, right? Where he was one of the pillars of SE2 for a long time, referring to specifically like Husky, Day 9
side of things.
Yeah, for Husky, Day 9, and for HD StarCraft as well, and they all stepped out, right? They all stopped, and that, I'm sure that also had its own ripple effect and impact on SC2 and on its longevity and on its viewer base and on its perception as well. When you have like the biggest content creators like step away, like that's huge.
When you put it that way, it's almost like some kind of universal force for whatever reason kind of thought, you know what? Fuck this game in particular. I'm gonna have the content creators step away, the big ones step away. We're gonna have this massive fraud kind of scandal with one of the big sponsors where the owner will like get sued, and then we're also gonna have this match fixing scandal come to light all within the same year.
It's a lot, right? And that's also why I think it's worth
aren't directly connected to each other either.
Exactly, right? They're not. It's not because of this happened, because this happened. It was all like almost like individual, right? Like HD stopping making content had nothing to do with Husky or anyone else. Like he just. I mean, we don't even know about that one. Like HD is another topic entirely. When he stepped away, and I think he was having a really hard time when it comes to like criticism on YouTube. We all know about this, about how it is a little bit important to have like a bit of a thicker skin when it comes
comments,
to yeah, exactly, when it comes to making content. Exactly, and I know that he kind of stepped away. Then of course what happened with Husky, what happened with Day 9, and it's just everything, and yeah, it's a bit of a shame, and it's some of those things that I hope gets covered in the final like documentary series. We know that some of it is going to be covered, but that's also why we decided to bring up the Spennu topic as well, because that was being missed, and that also felt pretty important, at least to StarCraft.
Yeah, definitely.
So and with that was the local interview, and for sure we do recommend tuning in. And even though there are definitely some things that we would like to have like discussed or talked about, like regardless, it is still great that Zombigo is hosting these interviews and uploading these interviews as well. Definitely a lot of work was put into them. Yeah,
without a doubt, and this is also one of the natural flowing interviews, shall I say, and that should come as no surprise, as Loco and ZG, they go way back.
Mhm.
way back to like the Base Trade days. I remember it was Base Trade TV, Crank, and Loco. Kind of had like
Mhm.
their own little sphere for a little while.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. A lot of content together, a lot of history between a lot of them as well. So definitely worth checking out. That leads us into our next bit of content here. That leads us into a video that Lambo actually made not too long ago. This actually 15
So
hours ago.
exactly, so recent that I didn't even get to that I didn't even get time to watch it after I woke up.
hmm For sure, for sure. So do check it out. It was definitely an interesting video. So for a little bit of context for Lambo's video, if you know anything about Reddit, it's not the best place for discussion, of course, or critique, or yeah,
It's
it's
just
an
not a great place in general.
yeah, it's got its issues for sure. But Reddit for a very long time used to actually house a lot of comments and a lot of posts regarding balance, regarding Protoss.
It
The reason for this, we had a discussion about this in weeks past, in PondCast past, is because of the Protoss's lack of performance in tournaments, right? Like,
Yep.
for a long time, no Protoss champion, right? That was the consensus, right? There's no Protoss champion. You know, why is this? You know, is it because of balance? People would often bring that up, talk about how, you know, we haven't had a Protoss champion in a very, very long time. What this video is targeting is that in recent months, it feels like ever since the off season, ever
pendulum.
since yes, the pendulum has swung, and now Reddit is full of almost on a daily, at least weekly, if not a daily basis. There are more and more posts talking about Zerg, talking about how right now Zerg is underrepresented. We spoke about it, right? Like we even have some tournaments.
Daily.
Now we even have some tournaments that are providing prize pools for Zerg players just to even play, just to place highly, right? There's you have Dark stepping in, retiring. Like GM is overrepresented by Protoss. Like there's a big issue when it comes to Zerg. And there's a lot of discussion on that. And this video is more targeting as to why that is, as to what led to this, as to how did everything kind of so seemingly switch from one perspective and one narrative to suddenly another, and if there's any weight behind it, if there's any meaning behind it, what we should pay attention to, what we shouldn't pay attention to. Like it feels like a greater discussion on specifically on Reddit and the vibes on Reddit right now.
Yeah, it's not like a Zerg bad or Protoss 2 OP video or stuff like that. Although he does provide, from what I, although my understanding is he does provide a little bit of his own thoughts and his own opinions in that regard. But it is a video that's focused more on basically echo chambers, and especially the echo chamber on Reddit specifically.
I would oh, go on.
I'm not sure if, because again, I didn't get to watch a full video here. I'm not sure if Lambo mentions this, but I think it's something that's very important to remember for not just when it comes to gaming content, but content online in general. People who are happy aren't going to be making noise.
Yeah.
It's the reason, I feel like the reason why we're seeing a lot more Zerg and a lot less Protoss is because I think Protoss players are generally, they're not 100% there, but they're more content with where Protoss is at right now, or the state of Protoss right now, than they were a while ago when they were making all these posts and all these comments on Reddit. Whereas now it's, the Zerg players who are unhappy with the state of Zerg, so that's why you're seeing a lot more of that.
And he does go like one step deeper there when it comes to analysis. Like he checks like patches and when and where Zerg was nerfed and when it was negatively impacted, and how that's kind of been shown when it comes to how vocal the community has been. When it comes to Lambo's consensus coming into this, he, as you mentioned, does have some thoughts of his own. He does try to make a very strong distinction between pro level gameplay and people on Reddit, and there is a difference, right? Like typically, there is he does try to make a difference between more amateur players or the regular player base and what their issues are, and the pro player base and what's happening at the pro level. And I think he said that he wants to make a separate video covering that specifically as well. Which will be interesting. I mean, for the most part, for the most part, I think there is a consensus, and I would say that this consensus permeates through all leagues right now, and that right now it just isn't fun to play Zerg. We heard it from Sort of. We heard it from Lambo as well. Even
Mhm.
Gabe said something similar, specifically for TVP.
Well,
And when I say it's not fun to play Zerg, I should also emphasize a lot of that comes from ZVP as well, where it just isn't enjoyable
it's
to play against Protoss
yeah,
for any
it
race right now.
exactly. It's not fun to play Zerg in general, but if you're playing any race, it's not fun to play against Protoss, especially
Uh-huh.
PvP, but especially ZVP.
Uh-huh.
And
And we've
especially TVP, because I gotta tell you, but I'm definitely not biased there. You know?
uh-huh. Sure. So that's definitely like something that he is aware of, that he knows. I think, and we've heard of it. We heard it from Sort of. We heard it from Gabe as well. Like we've heard it from a lot of pro players when it comes to their thoughts on certain matchups and how it just isn't very enjoyable to play. I think he in less polite terms, I think Lambert, he calls Zerg like the punching bag race, where like you play a game and you just sit there and you just take it for like the entire game, and then you just have to get used to it, right? Like it's a quote unquote reacting race, but like typically, the other races can do whatever they want, and sometimes it just isn't really fun to be in that position every game whenever you ladder, and it's definitely understandable.
Yeah, I'm getting the consensus. I'm getting the consensus now that, at least for Zerg, it feels like you are pigeonholed very much into
Mhm.
playing a very specific style, as opposed to previously, or especially if you're going to be comparing to the other two races, where
Mhm.
arguably this is because Protoss and Terran are a bit more active, but also arguably that shouldn't be that big of a factor
Mhm.
when it comes to the fact that they have more options compared to Zerg with how you
Yeah.
actually want to approach the game.
For sure. What I will say though is that this video focuses a little bit less on that. That's my critique on this video, is that this video does focus a lot more on the general audience, and Lambo first makes it clear that he does want to make a distinction between like pro players and like general players, and he goes into why exactly, like he first starts off saying that he doesn't fully understand why there's a lot of outcry right now for Zerg, when he feels like a lot of the issues for Zerg stemmed a couple of patches ago. If you remember I think specifically he speaks about, and he's probably going to speak about it more in a future video. He brings up the patch that nerfed bailing runbys. Do you remember this?
Yep.
It was like maybe a year ago, where they made it so bailing runbys could no longer one shot workers.
Yep.
Yeah,
And I
they
think
could
they
no
also got
longer.
rid of armor as well, or they lowered the
Yes,
armor.
yes. Yeah, well, they lowered the HP. They lowered the HP of the bailing.
That's what it was.
And they made it so +2 means that you can no longer one-shot workers. And because of that, bailing runbys were removed from ZVP, basically. Like you just can't do that anymore, and it's more difficult to harass and to be that aggressive in ZVP. And he does touch on that, and it's of his opinion. I think I would agree as well that like that nerf and that patch was probably worse than more recent patches for Zerg. But like he was wondering like, why is it that right now we're hearing a lot of outcry for it, even though that patch was a long time ago? And his conclusion, I would say that as well, is that right now, specifically because of how Zergs are performing at the pro level, because there's barely any Zergs and they're being underrepresented, and they're struggling a lot more in the pro level, then the Reddit suddenly feels like it is acceptable to be vocal about Zerg issues and Zerg grievances. How like the perception of the Reddit changes depending on what's happening at the pro level, even though these issues have been there for a long time. And I think we even spoke about how like Protoss over-representation has been around for many years, but it's only recently that like it's become like socially acceptable to like actually speak about these things because of what's happening at the like in these online cups or in these tournaments.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things amongst the fan base, right? Where apparently the most conclusive, if you, it's kind of felt this way for a while, where basically any critique you might have regarding balance or regarding design when it comes to a specific race is immediately like shoved aside or invalidated, because you can say, oh yeah, but we have a Zerg champion, or we have a Terrell. Yeah, but we have Serral, we have Sue, we have Raynor winning things, we have Oliveira or Maru or TY winning things. So yeah, your critique isn't now invalid. And it's like, well, I feel like that's like the kind of extreme end of the spectrum, where, because obviously a really good piece of advice for everybody is, no matter what the balance is, if you're at a bit of a low league, basic fundamentals will still bring you higher, right?
100%.
But I think a lot of people over the years have just kind of taken that to the extreme and have kind of been saying, well, if that guy can do it, then anyone can do it.
Yeah, exactly, 100%, and that's exactly what Lambo concludes as well. That right now, because Cyril isn't winning everything, because now there isn't that immediate shutdown when you be like, oh, just play like this guy. Clearly, there's a Zerg
like
winner
D1,
here.
Meme.
Yeah, true. Like suddenly your opinion becomes invalidated. Now that isn't happening, so now that's kind of like more rising to the top, and now it's becoming a little bit more prevalent instead. So I do find that really interesting, like almost psychologically, when it comes to like the community and how it handles itself and what does and doesn't rise to the top.
Or is it sociology?
I would say, yeah, probably sociology.
That's not relevant. That's not relevant to your point.
No, I think it is probably sociology as well, like when it comes to like groupthink and what people think that they can and can't speak about, right?
Get away with,
Yeah, but so I would agree with that in the sense that that is why right now there's a lot more talk on Zerg, because Zergs aren't winning right now. That's why that's kind of rising to the top.
Also,
but
I just aren't playing in things either.
Yeah, that's a big problem. There's a lot to talk about that. True, we've already spoken about it, right?
Chicken and egg situation there.
Yeah. Soto is playing AoE4. A Laser playing a lot of AoE4 as well.
Is Zerg not winning because they're not playing, or is Zerg not playing because they're not winning?
So I'm sure there's a bit of both going on right there. Yeah, so that's definitely something to bring up. And I think you spoke about it yourself, how even though there's a lot of grievances at a low level, like you can improve, right? You can improve your fundamentals. And that's what Lambo does go into a lot here. He spends a lot of time on that actually in this video, talking about how, like, and it almost turns into an ad. He starts bringing up his Patreon. He's like, oh, I have like the Zerg Academy, like I can help you out, guys, like when it comes to learning builds and stuff like that.
I support that.
Yeah. Hashtag ad.
Great segue. Great segue, Lambo. You got us. You got the bait. You got the hook line.
Yeah.
Get
He's
your
like,
bag,
mate,
Lambo.
you got me.
Get your bag, Lambo. You do you.
He's like, you know what? I hear all you guys struggling out there. Patreon.com/CranKy Ducklings. that's kind of what this video turns into. I'll be honest. That is what happens in this video, where he starts hyping up his Patreon. Under, like, you know what? Shameless.
I do that if I was good and had a Patreon.
True. But I will say that he does emphasize that a lot, as in he emphasizes the fundamental aspect of things, right? Where a lot of these players are struggling in certain ways, and there's definitely ways to improve. And it does feel like he goes a little bit too far, and he goes as far as even going towards the side of a lot of these grievances would be fixed if you were to fix your fundamentals. So you should just do that more than anything. I do think that he does draw the line a little bit too hard when it comes to how pro players are feeling and how the rest of the general player base is feeling. I would say that's maybe a mistake from him. Like, if I were to critique like this video.
Cut and dry, right? Because there are obviously some things that the pro players are saying that do resonate with the amateur players or with more casual players and stuff like that. But it's it's something that I tell myself all the time, right? Where I'm like, okay, stop complaining about freaking Colossus. Clem, and not even Clem, but like people who are 1 or 2 leagues higher than me are able to deal with it easily. I just need to get better. But I tell myself that through tears, right? I'm telling that to myself while I'm crying. So it's like, rationally speaking, I know that there are things that I can still do to improve, but that doesn't mean that it's fun.
Yeah,
you
for
have
sure.
to do all that stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe where that's Lambo's pitfall here, is that he speaks about how like a lot of the pro players don't enjoy these matchups anymore for ZVP or ZVT. I would say that permeates through the lower levels as well, and I don't think he brings that into account enough in this video. Another thing that he brings up here is that he does also agree that he feels like a lot of patches that happened in the past probably happened only because Serral was winning so much, and it was more like they were balancing Serral, less so balancing Zerg. And I think he does admit that, which I can see that happening as well. We almost saw that for Clem. If you remember, like when we read the patch notes, one of the big criticisms was they wanted to do a change for the Thor, and I was like, this feels like a Clem change. Like why are they doing this? Like, this is so weird. To help.
I mean, that's been a pattern for a very, very, very long time, way back since Wings of Liberty, right? Where you could argue that the original Ghost nerf happened because MVP utilized Ghost better than everyone else, and then later on in Heart of Swarm, that was a similar thing. I remember in the first, after BlizzCon, Reapers got nerfed because they wanted to nerf Beyond, or at least that's what it felt like. So that's, been kind of a pattern where in StarCraft 2, it's always, we need to look specifically at who the top player is right now and try to figure out what, and it almost feels like circular logic in a way where they're like, oh, okay, the top player utilizing this specific strategy or this specific unit must 100% mean that the unit itself needs nerfing, and it's like, not really.
Yeah, it's difficult, right? It's difficult when balancing for an esport and even balancing around a player even as well. And how far do you take it? How far don't you take it as well? I think we spoke about how ideally you want like this push and pull factor when it comes to balance, where you have certain people wanting one thing, but you want to push back in the other way, and ideally you find a nice middle ground. You could argue whether we've been successful or not successful when it comes to that. Hard to say,
or if it even is the middle ground that we should be aiming for, if it should be a little bit slightly towards one end or the other.
Yeah, it's difficult for sure. It is difficult, and it's definitely a hard topic to approach. I'd like to believe that the Balance Council are doing the best they can, but we've also spoken previously about some of the issues with the Balance Council internally when it comes to voices in the council as well. Yeah, it's definitely a difficult thing to approach, but it's interesting that Lemon made this video. And again, like I think overall, like most of the consensus I would probably agree with, but I feel like he is missing the mark in certain aspects here, and I know he's gotten a lot of feedback in regards to it as well. We'll see.
But I mean,
I'm excited to hear
that into the follow-up video.
True. He could 100%. I'm sure he will. And we'll see if we hear from anyone else either when it comes to this, as this leads us into, I believe, our next topic. I say that I feel like I was going to bring something else up when it comes to Lambo's video, but it's escaping me. Yeah.
Okay, so you already talked about the ad for Zerg Academy.
True. It's the most important part. Oh no. I don't know, maybe it'll come back to me. But up next we have our, I guess in a way, this isn't 100% announced, but there is a consensus that has been going on. Up next, we are going to be discussing IM Katowice. IM Katowice and what occurred during IM Katowice as well. For those of you that are fans of StarCraft, you would know that IM Katowice has been around for a very, very long time when it comes to being like a big premier tournament. Eventually it turned into our Grand or our World Finals for the ESL Pro Tour as well. Has been a major event, but at the most recent IM, StarCraft wasn't a part of it. The other thing, apparently we have confirmation from people working at the event, from the players that were at the event as well, as there was only CSGO at IM Katowice. That was the final IM Katowice, like, period.
Yeah, they didn't make any official announcements or anything like that, but ESL has plans to, I mean, it's kind of public information now that ESL has plans to move IEM, or the tournament that used to be at Katowice, to Krakow. And oh man, that's that's a whole thing in itself, especially if you're keeping up with CSGO news and if you're somebody who has been following CS for quite a while. It's been something that there was a lot of negotiation down the works. So it's a little bit of a dispute as well between another organizer going on there, but it does very much look like ESL has kind of won that out in the end. And for the foreseeable future, it looks like IEM is no longer going to be at Katowice, but instead going to be at Krakow.
Yeah, so to quickly go over this, something that we have 100% confirmation on is that I Am Katowice, that was the final one. As you mentioned, it was kind of weird that they didn't do anything around that, considering that they knew it was going to be the final I Am Katowice. They didn't make an announcement, they didn't hype it up, they didn't advertise the event like it was going to be, you know, the final one and try to have like a last hurrah or anything like that. From my understanding, the speculation as to why this is the case is because at the time they didn't know which city they were going to. They didn't know where IM was going to move to instead of IM Katowice. So that wasn't like 100% confirmed at the time, which is why they were a little bit hesitant about kind of making any kind of grand announcement regarding it, which you could argue whether that was a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe they should have done something special anyway if they had known
exactly, because at that point they weren't sure which city they were moving to, but they knew for sure that they were moving out of Katowice.
Yeah. So I agree. I think it's a shame that they did nothing for it, considering how long I Am Katowice has been around, right? It's been around for so many years. It's a mainstay. It's a staple of esports, not even just StarCraft 2, but you know, for CS:GO and for other esports as well. Like I Am Katowice is definitely something that a lot of people bring up, even outside of just our own esports. So it is a big missed opportunity for them to have done something for it.
It's become absolutely iconic, like you said, not just in StarCraft 2, but in esports in general, because Katowice has been the venue for so long. And I understand that they probably did want to go somewhere large, to a city that's perhaps larger and maybe has some better infrastructure there. But like you said, would have been nice if we had a bit more of a send-off.
100%. When it comes to it going to IM Krakow, we should emphasize that it is not 100% confirmed here. It's like maybe 80 to 90% confirmed. Something that we do know, which you alluded to, is that PGL Esports, which they are a tournament organizer. Yeah, Romanian-based, mainly focused on CS:GO, and CS:GO was at IM Katowice.
A little bit of Dota.
Exactly. Well, yeah, a little bit of Dota. They did announce initially that they were going to Krakow to host their event. It was later revealed that they couldn't host their event there because they were overbooked, or they were basically another event was booked instead. They were pushed out. That was confirmed. So there's another event happening at Krakow. This was for 2027, and the municipality of Krakow confirmed that there was going to be like an annual event for the next 3 years. 2026, 2027, and 2028, that was going to be taking place at Krakow. So we know that there's an event happening there that's confirmed for 3 years. We know that another esports event was denied entry to Krakow. And very quickly, we also got confirmation from ESL. They didn't announce where the events were going to take place, but they did release their dates on future events, and they did coincide with the dates that PGL wanted to host their event.
It's like they never explicitly said, or the municipality of Krakow never explicitly said that it's going to be an ESL tournament there, whether it's IEM or ESL 1. And ESL never explicitly said that they're moving to Krakow, but, I mean, basic math, deduction, just basically... They would have to come up with a hell of an explanation to explain this coincidence if it ended up not being connected.
Yeah. As you said, right, there's a lot of things that kind of like connect and that point to IM Krakow being a thing. Again, it isn't 100% officially confirmed, but from, again, these other kind of sources or these other things that have happened to have coincided, then people have deduced that most likely this is going to happen. So there's like 80 to 90% sure that there is going to be an IM Krakow instead of IM Katowice. This is important to bring up here for StarCraft just because, you know, if there is going to be another circuit for SE2, if there's going to be an EWC SE2, most likely there's going to be in StarCraft 2 events at Krakow instead of IM Katowice.
Yeah.
As it doesn't exist anymore.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, we'll see. This, obviously, like we were saying, this news or this whole development does center a lot more around CS:GO, but I mean, ESL is so huge and IEM is so huge that most likely it is going to have a ripple effect into other esports, StarCraft included.
Yeah, yeah. So if you hear that, hey, the IC2 EPT circuit
And
is back and that StarCraft is returning to Poland, then now you know not to be too surprised if it is announced it's going to be at Krakow, not
Yeah.
Katowice.
all of you people who booked your tickets for Katowice a year ago, Anton.
True.
Yeah,
Smart.
Here, I will say actually for those who may be worried about this being like in a completely different place, Krakow is like a little over an hour away from Katowice. Like it's not like a huge distance, but definitely not convenient if you booked in the wrong city.
Yeah, and as Yaku was alluding to as well, like Krakow is meant to be more of like a touristic place. Like it's meant to be a little bit of a bigger city than Katowice. Like it's
more hotels, larger stadium.
Yeah. Like as you mentioned, like it is a step up in a sense. It's just a bit of a shame just because there's so much history with IM Katowice, right? Like it's just it's been there for so many years. We didn't really expect it to go anywhere because it's been there for so long. So it is a bit of a sudden change and a little bit bittersweet because it's like, oh, they're going to a bigger city, which is probably a good thing. But at the same time,
like it's a sign of growth, right? But at the same time, Katowice has been so iconic. I don't necessarily want to look at this half glass full, but if I were to, I would probably say, but you know what? That opens up Spodek again if anybody wants to do anything there. 'Cause the reality of the situation is the reason why IEM Katowice happened in the first place is because Katowice was a cheap venue.
Yeah.
So now it's open again, potentially.
True.
If anybody out there wants to do something in Katowice.
Yeah, this is where we get Duskling to organize there.
Sure. How's Galactic Battle? True.
Yeah, true.
We hosted at Spodek, mate. Let's go. I mean, touching on what you just said is that's also something that, at least for me, is a little bit concerning. I mean, when it comes to Katowice as a city, I think we even spoke about this last week after the podcast about how, Katowice is a bit of a cheaper place. It is
now.
It is a smaller city, and it benefited from the annual IM Katowices, right? It did benefit as a city because of all the tourists and because of all the attention that it was getting because of esports.
Not just all the attention, not just all the tourist money and all that, but also the renovations that happened, the renovations and the infrastructure development that happened because they got money from IEM to do all of that. All the development that was put into place. They had to hire people to do all of that as well, who I imagine were also living in Katowice. So, bittersweet for sure. Hopefully, I wish them the best over in Katowice.
I was gonna say, I don't know if it's still the case because I haven't followed, but there was at least an ESL studio in Katowice as well. That's like separate from Spodek, just in Katowice as well. And also something I did want to mention as like just somebody who's just visiting Katowice every now and then. I have noticed that ever since IEM, there seems to be more foreigners in the city in general. Like more people just seem to be coming. Like either they are like visiting or just working there, because now there are like a lot of like office spaces and stuff. So like I feel like there's a lot more people from outside the country now in the city.
Yeah, and
we got that. That's how we got that restaurant that had a massive. That was a little bit confused as to what cuisine they wanted to go for. Shall we put it that way?
True.
That's completely unrelated. But yes, we got a very interesting restaurant that changes the name like every few months. By the way.
God damn it!
Changes the name and changes the cuisine every time.
And I don't want to say as much as like, now with that IM Katowice, that means that Katowice city is going to be 100% worse off because of it. Like, I don't know if that was the deciding factor as to like, income and revenue that the city was getting. I don't know how much it will impact it, but still, it is a bit of a shame. And, so hopefully they're able to replace the event with other events, and that hopefully they're able to continue, their own, I should say just events to like draw attention to the city itself, just because I know they can definitely benefit from that more so than Krakow. From my understanding, Krakow is, definitely a little more touristic already, and they already have a lot going on.
It's already developed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. But with that, we have I am Krakow almost confirmed. when it comes to SE2, yet to be determined. Up next, we do have another roster change here as we have Exeritus
Yeah.
stepping into the ring once again after a very long hiatus.
Very, very long. How long? 6 years, I want to say. Or no, a little bit more recent than that, because I believe they did have.
I mean, they were founded recent, like. Yeah, they were founded during the COVID era of StarCraft, so like they're a bit of a newer team, but they didn't stick around for too long. They stuck around for like 2 years. I want to say they went inactive like around 2022. So yeah, they didn't last too long, is what I will say. But suddenly they're back and they picked up Champ.
Yeah, which again, I'm honestly pretty surprised with this pick. Not just with the fact that Exeritus is coming back. I mean, I get that they do want to focus a bit more on Latin America, and obviously, I think most people will probably agree that Chem is the strongest player in Latin America right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I was under the impression that Chem was semi-professional nowadays, like not as active nowadays as he used to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you're correct in that assumption. Like Chem, I mean, I don't think he played in much at all back in December or in January. If you remember, that's why we were really excited to see Chem in the Big Brain bouts, because that's like all we would see him in. Like he would only like really play that, and that's kind of it. So yeah, like Chem, he just wasn't very active, as you mentioned, after leaving Starlight Twinkle at the end of WTL. But yeah, which is why it's exciting to see Exeritus pick him up. I'll be honest, he is like their only active player, and I'm pretty sure that Exeritus, they're just picking up Cham just because they're a fan of him, they want to support him, but also most likely because of HSL. HSL is the Hispanic Star League. It just started at the start of the month, and think of GSL but for the Latin American and Spain regions, for Spanish-speaking regions.
Latin American and Spain.
Yeah. So Latino America and Spain.
Okay. Yeah.
So players from those countries, from those regions, are able to compete in the HSL, and that did begin this month. And yeah, it's definitely an exciting event. We're going to be covering it via replays here on the channel. But yeah, I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if the owner of Exeritus was just like watching those games and found out about it and was like, oh, Cham's playing this. Oh, Cham's chainless. I'll be there for Cham. So yeah, it's nice to see.
They saw the opening and they went straight for it. Let's see more of that.
Yeah, I guess what I'm getting at is I don't expect them to pick up other players. Like I don't expect this to be like Streamer Zone or Alien Esports, right? I don't expect them to like step in and pick up like 2, 3, 4 other Latin American players. I wouldn't be surprised if they just like stick with Cham and like Davito and like they're happy with that.
Well, they have Shelby in the B team, so fingers crossed. Promotion sometime soon.
Sure.
But man,
Shelby.
I still that clip lives rent free in my head where he like all of a sudden the Banelings turn around and just melt him. His shriek of pain. I'm like, I've been there, Shelby.
Yeah. Forever just cemented into the duct tapes. So yeah, it's really cool to see that Cham is getting supported, and great to see that he's back on a team. We'll see if Exeritus will continue to support him after HSL. That I don't know about. I don't know if maybe this is like a one event thing or not. I'm sure we will find out in due time. So congratulations to Cham. That leads us into the Team Liquid Map Contest number 20.
Yes, voting is now open, and I believe we still have wait, let me double check this. I believe we still have a few days left of voting.
Yeah.
Yes, 1 day and 20 hours.
Yep. Exactly. It's like right after tomorrow's like Sparkling Tuna Cup, or maybe a little bit more than that. But yeah. TLMC voting is still open. So if you're out there, if you're listening to this, whether it's
from now.
There you go. If you're listening to this stream or even listening to the VOD in time, then vote. It is your time to vote for what maps you want in the next ladder map pool. Not saying that we have confirmation.
Of course, there's no guarantee that even the top highest voted map will make it into the next map pool, but the creator of the map will get a prize, or will get extra prize money. So
And there's an extra chance that it will be, right? Like, I'm sure ESL will take into consideration the top map specifically, and they'll have a higher chance of actually making it into the ladder map pool as well. So the voting does count. So make sure you get your voting while you can. We have been hosting events using these TLMC maps, and I brought up STC tomorrow because tomorrow's Sparkling Tuna Cup is also going to be featuring some TLMC maps as well. So we'll have another opportunity to see some of these maps before you vote. But regardless, don't forget to vote. That's the most important thing to decide, which of these maps you've enjoyed so far.
Yeah. Big fan of Last Fantasy, personally. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. I love that map.
It's been a lot of fun. I don't know if you've been able to tune into many events featuring some of these maps, Yaku. I don't know if you have any other stronger thoughts.
I've watched a few, and I've watched a few pro games on Last Fantasy. The amount of Terran players who don't realize that there are air blockers.
Yeah.
On the one hand, it like pains my soul, but on the other hand, I'm like, this guy, this fool, thought he could hide.
Yeah, we've seen that as well in the channel. We've seen players like Bjorn boost with medevacs, get trapped, and then lose their medevac unnowingly as they just
or even
the
Liberators.
Yeah, as well.
They're like, oh, he doesn't know about the air blockers.
I think I've cast on every map so far. There's definitely some maps that we've seen more than others. What I will say, especially because the format of our tournaments is losers pick, we have seen a lot of players pick Persephone. Persephone has been a little bit more of a
hating that map.
I actually think Persephone may be the most picked map right now when it comes to the players, which is interesting. Persephone is actually the map that has a healing pad, pad on the right-hand side, has a goal base, and has a big alley of speed zones on the right-hand side as well. And it's short rush distance by ground and short rush distance by air. So, it definitely has a lot of unique features. I'll be honest, even though I've cast a lot of games on this map, I've never seen anyone use a healing pad.
I think they all forget,
I think so.
I would like to point out, Jumi tried. Jumi tried to use the healing pad.
He did try. As a reminder, that healing pad has air blockers above it, so Jumi did try to send Phoenixes in to get healed, and they would not get healed.
Because I was about to ask, I don't remember, does it also heal shields, or is it just HP? But
HP. Yeah.
I guess we haven't been able to confirm yet.
True. We haven't confirmed. So that is also for balance purposes as well. Like if the Oracle can go in and heal early on, that'd be crazy. There are some air blockers there. We've also seen a lot of Sandworm. Sandworm has also been a relatively popular pick, and I do enjoy some of the features on Sandworm as well.
That's the chicanery map, as I like to call it. It's one where, in theory, it would have a pretty short rush distance if not for the cones, for like the speed bumps, or not even speed bumps, but like basically traffic cones in the middle.
Yeah. There's a bunch of traffic cones in the center. There's the goal base as well. I'll be honest, looking at this, because of the short rush distance by ground, I thought it would be difficult to take the gold. We've seen a lot of players take and secure that goal base. Like that goal base actually is quite defendable because of the speed, because of the traffic cones, and because of the rocks around it as well, because of the terrain. So the goal base has been a big factor on Sandworm, which has been a lot of fun to experience as well. No, I don't think you should. Not at all. That'd be a bad idea.
When you say you don't think you should, do you mean me specifically, or?
Yes, you specifically. Yeah, you should stop that. You should... God damn it.
I don't have a problem.
God damn it.
I can stop gangnamming whenever I want.
Oh no. Copium. Another popular map is Killer's Mile. Killer's Mile by Killer Smile. Has also been picked quite a bit.
I actually haven't been able to play much on this map or watch much either, for whatever reason.
Yeah. So far, it's been a popular pick from Terran players who want to be aggressive. Basically, the third base on Killer's Mile is pretty exposed, so we have seen a lot of successful timings directed at that third base to
both
break down the third
and the triangle.
Yeah, exactly. To try to go for it, to try to bring it down, to try to break it. So we've seen a lot of aggression on Killer's Mile. Whether it's a good or a bad thing has been popular. Is all I can say. Some of the other maps I haven't seen enough of. We spoke about it. There's like a visual graphical glitch on Antimatter, I want to say. Sorry, not on
Are you
Antimatter.
referring
On
to the lightning bolt in the middle?
There is no lightning bolts in the minimap, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Shaking my head. But am I thinking of Antimatter? Maybe I'm thinking of a different map. But there's one of these maps has like it shows like red spots on it where there aren't any, so it looks like there's an enemy
That is
unit on the minimap when there
yes.
isn't. Yeah. So on Antimatter, there's like a graphical glitch on the minimap, so that I'm sure that'll be fixed if it does hit the ladder. But that is something that has been
Well, they'll also have to
annoying
fix
to deal with.
it if they want to put it in the ladder. So
Yeah.
that might factor into their judgment
Yeah.
on whether or not they're gonna actually implement it.
For sure. So there's been a couple of quirks here and there when it comes to some of the maps, but overall it's been a lot of fun. And again, we're going to be featuring more of these maps tomorrow in STC.
Yeah. Is it wrong that I just want to vote for Steam City purely because of the description?
It is wrong, but you vote for who you want to vote for. God damn it, yeah.
I was gonna vote the other day, but I was like, I don't remember my login details. I'll like log in later, and then I forgot to. I'll vote after STC tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be sure to vote after STC as well. I'll try to 100% make sure we do that. So again, voting is still open. Make sure you get your votes in while you can before they close in 48 hours, as Yaku did mention. Up next, we have the Warty TV Spring Championship. We do have Warty hosting another big event. What we are bringing up, though, is the fact that similarly to Pig, where the Pig Store Monday seeded into the Pigsty Festival, here as well, looks like Warty TV Mondays will also be allowing for seeding and qualifying for the Warty TV Spring Championship.
Yes, for 4 Warty TV Mondays, 26, 27, 29, 26, 27, 28, 29. They're not just going to be weekly tournaments, but they are also going to be qualifiers for the Spring Championship. Top 4 get invited to the first round, which is kind of like the group stage or the knockout bracket in a way, whereas the champions of each will get directly seeded into the second round.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Is going to be directly seeded in. And with that, I mean, it's a 2-for-1 here with Warty TV, hosting the qualifier and of course the Open Cups in kind of the same way. It's a great way to make use of the Warty TV Mondays as well. So look forward to the Spring Championship that is going to be right around the corner in April. That leads us into the French Team League. Not quite the announcement that I was hoping for. When I hear Comeback TV, when I see like a team league, I was like, Nation Wars? I was like, not quite. But we have a new
Nation
league.
War.
True.
Singular. Nation. Yeah. Singular. Civil War is what you should call it.
There you go. But there is going to be an amateur French team league. I say amateur, it is open to amateur players as well. There's a team league that's going to be hosted by Comeback TV. So if you happen to be from the land of France, then do check it out here. They have their Discord server. It's going to be worth it.
So it's a pro league and an amateur league, two of them?
I think it's gonna have slots available for amateur players, kind of like like Chobo Team League, how they have like a diamond slot or a master slot.
I see. I was gonna bring up the Polish league that was a while ago, where you had the pro players, but if the pro players were too high MMR, then they would have to off race, and for the most part, the teams would have amateur players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
like Chobo Team League style. That makes sense.
I mean, personally, I don't know which format they're going to use, but you raise a good point. Like, if they want, they could actually force GMs and pros to off-race instead to try to even out, like, some of the skill of the players. If they don't limit it by league, we'll see how they do it. We'll see how they handle the format.
So there's a chance we might see Clem Zerg.
There is a chance, yes. Yeah, there's a chance. So regardless, do check out Comeback TV. Again, for those that are curious, they are some of the big names behind O Gaming from back in the day. The passionate people behind it like Koka, as well as Funka and TKL. They did come together. They formed a Comeback TV, and they've been doing a lot of good work there for Comeback TV.
Yeah. Stay tuned for that.
Sure, for sure. Maybe one day Nation Wars. Maybe one day.
Maybe.
As that does lead us into another announcement here. This is a little bit different. This is more of like a PSA. It's a PSA to all pro players listening to the podcast regarding Home Story Cup.
Yes, if you are a pro out there and you are interested in playing the upcoming Home Story Cup, literally just reply, put anything to the tweet that... No, this isn't Naruto. I'm trying to remember what his handle is.
His
No, it used to
handle
be.
is their
He
Bobo,
may
but it
change.
used to be Naruto.
Used to be Naruto.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. That's what messed me up, yeah.
Yeah.
Reply
You know.
to Silvano Der Bovo's tweet, formerly known as Naruto's tweet, that says, if you are a StarCraft 2 pro and you want to play in the upcoming #HSC, you better answer this tweet with anything. So masterful engagement, mate. Masterful engagement, mate, Bovo.
There you go. There you
Beautifully
go.
done.
it's all, yeah. He's working that algorithm, mate.
Yeah.
So yes, if you're a pro player out there, reply to that tweet, and then you'll be considered for Home Story Cup. Basically, I mean, Home Story Cup, they rarely, if ever, do qualifiers anyway. This is just a way for them to, I guess, boost their engagement on Twitter, and also to see who's interested in competing in Home Story Cup.
I like how most of the replies are like, there are no pros replying to this tweet.
Let's
Every
go.
thermal being like, I'm not the pro though.
Exactly. So, pros, if you're out there, do reply to that tweet, and then you might be a part of Home Story Cup. Meanwhile, we have one final bit of news to go over here. We have some news out of Basilisk, and I'll be honest, this is the kind of stuff that we have wanted for so long. We talk about it all the time. One of the best teams out there was Axiom, and what did they do? They would actually have their players make content outside of just competing and playing in StarCraft, but to have them do other things, whether it's like, playing some IRL games, like wash the dishes, just having some shenanigans, or sometimes I remember they had like a little series.
Karaoke.
Yeah, go to karaoke, play other RTSs, give their honest thoughts on them, just make other content as well for the team. And finally, we have something like that here for Basilisk.
Indeed, we do. And oh boy, this one is going to be quite... I imagine a lot of yelling to be had. Well, if it was anybody other than Cyril, I would imagine a lot of yelling to be had. But we do have confirmation. Basilisk, Roddy himself, I imagine, did force the two of them, did force Cyril and Raina to sit down and play Portal 2 co-op. And so the VOD of that is going to be going live soon, TM, and I cannot wait. Raynor doesn't even know what a portal is.
It's comments like that remind us just how young, like how much of a baby Raynor is. Like he's never heard of Portal. Like, what are you talking about? It's shaking my head. So yeah, basically, Cell and Raynor, it looks like they played through some of Portal. I don't know if it's going to be a full playthrough or not, but they did play Portal together, and the team is going to be releasing a video of their playthrough, including webcams.
It's actually not the first time they've done something like this. I remember, I think last year or 2 years ago during Halloween, Cyril, Raynor, and Trigger actually got together to play Phasmophobia, or one of those co-op horror games.
There you go. So it's really cool to see they're doing this, and hopefully they do more content together as well. Whether it's with Raynor, whether it's with Cyril, whether it's with Trigger.
Also, it does mention in the replies that this will be like a multi-episode series. Like, this is not just like a single highlight video or something.
I hope the naming conventions for each episode is something like Raynor is bad at quote unquote or something like that.
Yeah.
They have to have like something going on there.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential for a lot of fun, a lot of shenanigans. It's just great to see content with the two of them, and it's great to see Basilisk invest into something like this as well. A lot of teams, they just, they have their players, and that's kind of it. It's great to see Basilisk. I mean, again, it does feel like they care a lot about, StarCraft, a lot about their players, a lot about, their boys, their Basilisk boys, if you will. So it's cool to see that they've decided to invest in this kind of way as well, and promote them playing other things together,
Yeah,
especially during the off season.
exactly. Yeah, it's like you were pointing out. It's one of the reasons why Axiom had such a following, despite the fact
Mhm.
that they didn't play in GSL or they didn't play in Pro League. They focused more on GSTL and stuff like that. It's because people actually got to see more of them coming out. There was content of them coming
Yeah,
out.
content.
And I think it's a very smart move here from Basilisk.
For sure, for sure. Been a long time coming, and hopefully we get to see more.
Like it.
Hopefully we. Uh-huh.
I think it was a couple of months back where we had. It wasn't something like this, but it was another fun video that Shopify Rebellion put out, which was like, they got the team together and they were like, guess which unit composition wins
Yeah.
in AIVAI
Yeah.
or something like that. And yeah, that was really
Mhm.
fun. And we were like, yeah, we hope we see more of this coming out from Shopify and from other teams as well. Well, it
Mhm.
took a little while, but now we have Basilisk picking up that torch in a way.
Yeah, we kind of got there in the end. We kind of, but I agree. We always do kind of champion whenever teams make content with their players outside of just StarCraft, or outside of just playing the game, I should say. So great to see. Look forward to it. That leads us into some of our events here, featuring Cyril. Actually, Cyril, he recently competed and was invited to play in an FSL Family Star League show match, Pros and Joes. Basically, this is actually quite similar to something that we covered previously for the Latin American community. If you remember, it was like the Latin American community versus MC or versus Hormono, and they had like MC and Hormono play like a bunch of like 1v2s and 1v3s and have all these show matches to feature the community against the player. Here, if it's FSL versus the player involved, this time Cyril.
Yeah. And, oh my, actually, I skipped ahead a little bit looking at the result. Pretty good results here from War Bunnies and Green Empire. Only ones who were able to win a map.
Let's go. Basically, Cyril, he basically was featured in a plethora of 1v2s, and his opponents were all they were all at most Diamond. They were at most Diamond 1. So a bunch of Diamond 1s, Diamond 2s, Diamond 3s. A bunch of the FSL players did team up, did pair off, and they did go up against Cyril. And it was a lot of fun. It was very exciting. There was even a winner's interview at the end, not conducted by me or anything like that. They did host it themselves. And they did provide us the feed of that. But yeah, they even had an interview with Cyril and they got his thoughts. And it was just a lot of fun to see these 2v2 players kind of try to work together to bring down a pro. Not easy, as you alluded to, because it did go heavily in favor of Cyril, but he did show a little bit of weakness at times.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a 1v2, so.
Yeah. For sure. It's not easy, even for Cyril. But yes, as you mentioned, War Bunnies and Green Empire did bring him down. They rushed him. Basically Cyril. He opened up greedy. I think he skipped a Roach War and he skipped a Baneliness. He opened up just with 3-4 queens and a handful of lings, and he just got all in. It's basically what happened, and they brought him down. But there was some really fun games even before that. There was some really close matches actually, as well. I want to say the first two were a little bit more one-sided, but once they got a handle on things, then things really did ramp up. And yeah, it's just a really fun
how to work as a team.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really fun kind of idea, and I know that afterwards, when they had an interview with the players, a lot of the FSL players were just really thankful that Cyril was playing, and they definitely looked up to him. They had a great time, and it's not every day that you get to play against one of the best players, if not the best Zerg player, at least in the world,
or even beating him.
Yeah, true. They can say that. They can say they beat Cyril. Let's go. Let's go.
All right, so when are we signing up for one of these?
True. So look forward to it because there are going to be future FSL show matches. They have a list of players lined up for that. I don't know exactly which players, but I know they have made a Discord and they're accepting, interest. If a player out there like a Clem or like a Rainer wants to take part, they can kind of sign up to get involved.
We need to pressure Hanmono to get into this.
Oh no. He's not.
Which, he absolutely is. That would be hilarious. But also, team owners out there, team owners and also players out there. This. We were talking a little bit earlier about how kind of exposing your players will get more eyes on them. This is another great way to do it. Another great way to kind of get them involved in more of a community event.
100%. Like, it's a great way to hear from them as well, just because you get those interviews at the end and to showcase them as a player, and it's just a lot of fun. It's like a little bit more grassroots even as well, just to have like a bunch of diamond players against a pro. It was a very fun event, not something to be taken seriously, of course, as it is 2v1s. There was some cheese involved as well, but definitely a lot of fun. I know that Cyril, he enjoyed his time as well, and yeah, shout out to KJ, shout out to the Psystorm boys for making this happen and for showing initiative. And I know that they also want to feature some 2v2s where it's like pro and a diamond FSL boy up against another pro and another like FSL boy, like pair them off like with a pro player as well. I know they want to do that.
It has to be Max Fax and Clem.
Max
Fax and someone versus Clem and someone.
Yeah. Well, they have like a pro and they have like a diamond player that they take under their wing and that they try to look after, and they try to 2v2. Yeah. Well, that's also when we hear like Clem like yelling at his partner, like telling him to telling him to like macro or something. Like,
I could not imagine Clem yelling at anyone. There's not one
it'll
in
happen.
Bonnie's body. And you saw him with Riag. With Riag, like he was trying to be so polite about everything.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, it'd be fun to see like how they interact with their partner and how they act on voice as well.
Oh man,
look forward to it.
Makes me wish Parting was still a part of the pro scene. Can you imagine Parting and somebody else versus Parting just yelling at his amateur partner the entire time versus somebody like Clem who would be more polite and be like, "Hey, you need to take note of this, and that." Meanwhile, Parting like, "Why don't you listen to me?"
No.
That legendary time when Jim and I actually tipped Parting for a coaching session. Seared into my brain.
This reminds me of, I don't know if you remember this. There was an old show. Maybe you might have seen the VODs like in more recent times. There was an old TGS show where they would bring on an amateur. I say amateur. They'd bring on like a YouTuber. And they'd have them play against like a more known personality, say like Total Biscuit, for example. But they had Day 9 backseating, like backseating like the YouTuber when it comes to playing StarCraft. A lot of them they had never played StarCraft before. We'd have Day 9 like yelling at them to like make workers or to throw down the CC or to make a depot or something, and to make Marines and to try to like rush Total Biscuit. Like,
I was not aware of that, but that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
find the bots of those later down the line.
They initially what they did was initially the format, because it changed to that, but initially it was they would have Total Biscuit and they would tell him, hey, we've brought on like Jesse Cox, for example. We brought on Jesse Cox.
I was gonna say
here.
Jesse
this is hypothetical.
Constantly says how much of a terrible StarCraft player he is. Allegedly lost to somebody who played mouse only at one point.
Oh no.
He brings up that story now and then.
But a hypothetical here is like, imagine they bring on Jesse Cox and they're like, okay, we're gonna make some content. TB, the idea of the show, TB, you're gonna take Jesse Cox and you're gonna like teach him how to play, right? You're gonna be in voice with him. He's gonna play, and you're gonna and he's gonna play like against an AI,
Rocky, and like Hercules.
Yeah. You're gonna try and like teach them a build. You're gonna try and teach them how to play, and then right, so that they're gonna do one game doing that, and then they're gonna verse each other in a 1v1. So then like you can see like how much they've like learned from that like little coaching session basically. And what they would do is they're like, all right, so TB versus Jesse, but then Day 9 would come in and he would like step in instead of Jesse, and he would play against TB, and TB like, whoa, Jesse, you're pretty good actually. What's going on? What's going? And Day9 would just trounce him, and he'd be like, what the hell? And then they'd reveal that it was Day9 all along. They did that a couple of times.
And then you had to guess mid-game if this was the person you coached or if it was actually Day9. That's a game show idea right then and there.
Then they changed it later to like the Day9 backseating the guest, but yeah, that was good times.
Then it was no longer because then it was no longer like a reveal or like a surprise.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. 100%. So I did that a couple of times, but yeah. Anyway, so there's potential for content. There's potential.
That sounds amazing. Yeah. It also brings me back to my old days to the old days where Milk and Cookies would backseat my games.
Like I can imagine I can imagine this. Like imagine if they had FSL format, you get 2 diamond players and you have like Cyril and Clem backseating each one individually, and they have to verse each other that way. Like we're gonna get Cyril versus Clem, but they're gonna be backseating and playing against each other like by proxy through this FSL player instead. Like
that's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I want. I want Harding on one hand, backseating somebody versus let's say who's a good versus like somebody like Lambo or Harstem.
Give Rainer. Rainer would be a good one.
Rainer would be a good one. Oh, Rainer and Rainer backseat coaching versus Harding backseat coaching. The amount of chaos the entire time.
You know who'd be amazing actually?
MC.
Hey. Lorimbo, baby. Lorimbo, mate. Let's go. Let's go.
That's a problem with Lorimbo, right? Because he'll be backseat coaching his player, but at the same time, he'll also have to fight against Chad.
True.
That 100%, I will watch that.
100%.
Lorimbo on that. Yeah, I also remember that time. I think 2019 or 2018. MC and MMA. They were at. They did a thing at one of the WCSs. It was like a behind the scenes kind of thing or backstage kind of thing, where they would get into a ladder game and backseat each other. So MMA playing Protoss and MC backseat coaching him, and MMA just ignoring MC's advice and then saying, "No, trust me, my control's good." Ended up getting trounced on that game by a random ladder opponent, but.
For sure. But this goes along the lines of, it's a nice little quirky event, not the most standard of events, but does produce for a lot of nice content and definitely worth checking out, definitely worth tuning into. So big shout to Sison, big shout to the FSL boys for making this happen. And again, they have plans for future events as well, featuring other players yet to be confirmed, yet to be announced. But soon TM will be seeing some more FSL. For sure.
Ryung coaching versus the possibilities. Ryung coaching Clem up against say Lambo coaching Rainer.
No.
Or I say coaching, really it's backseating.
Yeah, backseating. Yeah. 100%. Let's go. That leads us into our next event. That is going to be the Little Mac StarCraft 2 League Season 12. Oh my god, big shout out to Little Mac. He has been hosting these events and supporting the more amateur side of things for a very, very long time. This is a league for Diamond 1 players and below.
So I'm eligible.
True. But yes, we have the conclusion of the season 12 league. They had their initial group stage 1 into group stage 2. We do see a lot of players that we're relatively familiar with. Oh, Chocolate was here. Oh my god.
Yeah. Chocolate got involved. Terrible time zone.
Terrible. You're not wrong. Oh,
DJ.
Oh, no. But yeah, so really cool to see some of our otherwise regulars here in this event. Led into the playoffs, of course. So we did see Haroku up against Fireclaw. We saw Daryl, actually, who's a Peruvian pro also we're quite familiar with, did make it all the way to 3rd place. And Doomrat, a player that I had not seen before, comes out as the champion.
Yeah, somebody who I, as well, am pretty unfamiliar with. Doomrat. I'm not going to lie, I misread that as Doormat initially, but I was like, oh, don't be so hard on yourself, man. I was like, oh, wait. I'm dyslexic.
No.
I'll be honest, I did that too.
Oh, you're both dyslexic. Oh no. Congratulations to Doom Rats, of course, for becoming our champion, taking down Haruku 4-2. So congratulations. Again, a play that I'm not too familiar with, but regardless, had a very strong performance. Great to see that we had a lot of ZVZs that were back and forth, and that Haruku did make a series out of it. Yeah. But overall, congratulations.
Yeah, we're not too familiar with this player, but we hope to see more of them. Maybe in one of our amateur events, if they're awake for them.
For sure. Would be amazing to see. That leads us into our next event. That leads us into Sea Duckling Open number 132.
Yes!
This was the TLMC edition.
Historic one.
As we were featuring some of the Team Liquid maps.
Yes. We played in some of those as well, but nobody cares about that. What we care about is that finally justice has been served. A player who has been really unfairly shafted out of this for weeks and months and years on end, finally won the raffle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hashtag rigged in the chat, but Yaku of the Zaku.
Not rigged enough. It should have been more.
It's been a long time coming, but finally he does rise as this month's random raffle winner. Did walk away with 5 USD. Very well done, very well played. Basically good, second place, mate. Basically.
Wow. It doesn't show up, but. Oh, wait,
what even is that? What are you doing?
It's a box of tissues.
There you go.
Trophy. But this is more accurate because this is actually costs more, $5.
There you go. Earn yourself a Pringles can.
Hell yeah.
So shout out to Yaka for winning the random raffle.
I wasn't even around when the raffle took place this time. I was ironing my pants or something.
Oh no.
I was doing housework while the raffle was underway. That's regardless. The secret.
Look. Really, this shows that, put in all the hard work, the effort, the blood, sweat, and tears, and you too can not win the random raffle. You can be like Yaku. You can just wake up one day, you can stumble in, and you just walk away with 5 USD. It's crazy.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh no. But congratulations to Horse.
Basically upper class now. So,
There you go.
That's actually added to my overall winnings.
Yeah, esportearnings.com.
Esportearnings.com.
Bumped up.
Hell yeah.
Bumped up.
Big shot.
No. As a Horseradish did end up winning the entire event, so congratulations to Horseradish. Takes down Madinator, Captain Fish, Lost Ketchup, and Battle Pants to become our champion. Very strong performance.
Yeah, we had that battle of the condiments going on.
We did. We had the Horseradish and the ketchup facing off in those semifinals.
Well, a little bit.
Yeah, and some of the sugar. We saw the sugar in the upper semifinals. Battle Pants did make all the way to the finals as well. Bearing in mind that this was a unique tournament just because it did feature some new TLMC maps, so we were able to feature some more quirky sides of the maps. It also meant that the players themselves were not very familiar with a lot of the maps. They were kind of like stumbling into them, and they weren't really fully aware what was going to go on. So maybe not because that it was a little bit maybe uneasy or unorthodox for the players, but a lot of fun nonetheless, and just a great way to showcase some of the new maps.
Yeah, I definitely felt what you're saying, especially on the ace match that I played. It was on Persephone, where after I rewound after I tapped out of that game, and I was like, oh, there's this entire area that I didn't realize he was mining from that was even available that early on. Should have applied more pressure there, but yeah, pretty fun nonetheless. I actually picked Last Fantasy as my map after I lost the first map. I won that one.
Did you get stuck in an air blocker, or did you?
I actually didn't, because I paid attention on that one map. I didn't pay attention on the next map at all. Hence me missing an entire base for like 10 minutes. But
Fair enough,
on
fair
Last
enough.
Fantasy, I was aware.
There you go. Beautiful, beautiful. So again, this is I didn't even get to talk about it, but this is an
I
event for essentially diamond players below
deserved
4.2k MMR.
that raffle just for that, just because I picked Last Fantasy, I think. So,
There you go. Yeah, yeah. Only real winners pick Last Fantasy.
it feels pretty good.
So if you're out there, if you happen to be between the ranges of 0 and 4.2k MMR, then you can take part in this event. This is a monthly tournament, bear that in mind. Again, limited to more amateur players, so you can tune in, you can take part if you're interested. Meanwhile, that leads into our next tournament, that leads us into the Magic Up Masters 118. I think this is the final Magic Up Masters Cup period of the tournament series.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe so.
I can confirm that this is officially the last Magic Masters Cup. However, they did mention that maybe there will be some like random irregular events in the future, but officially this is the last one.
The last of the
Okay,
regulars.
Yeah, so if you recall, I think it was even last week, maybe the week before, we did bring up the fact that Magic Up Masters had 2 weeks ago, had come to an end, had come to a conclusion. They were going to wrap up the rest of the at least currently financed cups, but that is going to be all they do have for the time being. It is a bit of a shame. This is an amateur event for 4.9k MMR and below, so Masters 2-ish and below, or even Masters 1-ish and below. But alas, they are going to be wrapping up their tournaments. It's a shame just because they've been running it for so long, and they've been running it alongside our events as well. We definitely do champion them for doing it. They put in a lot of effort and a lot of initiative to host these events.
Yeah. Very regular thing as well. I mean, we're talking a little bit of our tournament, of our amateur tournaments, how they are monthly now. We've also had this big hiatus where we just weren't able to host our amateur events for quite a while, and it did feel a lot like Magic Up Masters kind of picked up the torch from there, and kind of made up for that quite a bit during our absence.
100%. They kind of filled that void while we were otherwise absent from the amateur tournament scene. So big shout out to Magic Up Masters Cup for holding or bearing that torch for as long as they did. Yeah, long time. So big shout out to those working behind the scenes. Shout out to Danielo, the Polish Protoss player who we have featured in Masters in the Masters 1 Open before, did win the event. Took down Wiseman 2-1, Dreepmat 2-1, and Fletch 3-0.
Yeah, wow. Full sweep in that grand finals. I was not really expecting that too much. I think we did actually manage to catch a little bit of Fletch here and there, not just in our tournaments, but also in some of the other kind of community-run events, and he's pretty good. So I would not have expected that full 3-0 sweep from Danielo.
Yeah, very well played by Danielo. He does take the win. Congratulations, winning the final, at least for now. Magic Up Masters Cup is going to be dubbed the final champion. And as Kuro did mention, we might see some future events.
I also have a fun fact. Earlier in the bracket, I guess it's not shown on Wikipedia, we also had a captain match. We had Captain Fish versus Captain Britain.
Let's go! Britain won in the end.
I was gonna say, do we have confirmation that Britain greater than Fish? But also remember that Captain Britain's also from the Philippines, so this.
Well, the problem is
confusion
the British eat fish and chips. So.
Okay. And people from the Philippines eat the British? Yeah. There you go.
Look, because they couldn't eat the Spanish when it came down. So yeah.
Full circle. Beautiful.
Circle of life. It's a food chain.
So congratulations.
The apex predator.
Oh God.
Filipino Zerg players, man, they're the apex.
Yo, Ender. True. I can get behind that.
He ate Mio Micah and Whisk, so
did
back in C games. So.
But that does lead us into the Passioncraft Emerging Stars number 7. As a reminder, this event does lead into the OC Elite Rising Star as well, as a bit of like a Code A kind of event for up-and-coming players. This is limited to 5.5k MMR and below. And we do have our winner this week, Ledlix.
Yeah, a player from the I almost said Philippines, from Italy, the Italians. No, from Italy.
Mhm.
Ledlix from Platinum Heroes. I can't say I'm too familiar with them, but really good result regardless, beating Magnef in the grand finals. So
Yeah. Takes down Cobblestone 2-1, Inexorable 2-1, and the 3-0 over Magnath. So very, very impressive result there from Ledlix. I think he has been prevalent when it comes to the previous Emerging Stars events. So congratulations for getting the win.
yeah, I believe this is. Let me take a look here. Played in Passioncraft Emerging Stars 2 and came in second place then. That was about over a month ago, and yeah, so now it looks like it feels like a bit of a long time coming here with this particular win. I also like this little bit of trivia because I opened his Wikipedia page. Formerly a League of Legends player until he saw Raynor talk about StarCraft with another League of Legends streamer.
There you go. So there's some benefits for Raynor being
doing us a service, getting the kids away from League, not encouraging it.
Exactly. He's lost in the rift to us, but he's sending us a couple of players every now and then. So there you go. Raynor, he's doing his part. Copium.
I just now imagine like a rift opening, and every now and then like a young player just pops out of the rift, like
yeah. There you go.
Well, no, I imagine Raynor pops out of it, carrying a young player, and then dumps the player down and be like, "You play StarCraft now," and then he goes back into the rift in search of more.
He's out there stealing kids.
He is the Krampus.
Not like this. So congratulations. So as you mentioned, this is Ledlix's first Emerging Stars win. His first win, so congratulations. As you mentioned, a long time coming, a big improvement for Ledlix. That does mean that he's going to be in the next OSC Elite Rising Star number 15. So look forward to seeing more of Ledlix in the future.
Yeah. Stay tuned to that. That's going to be happening very soon, I imagine. Oh boy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
OSC
that leads
events,
us in.
They don't stop coming.
They do not stop. That leads us into our Thermal 2v2 circuit coverage here for the month of March. Again, this is a circuit that has been running from month to month. So far, January, February already covered. Some behind the scenes news, of course, is that both myself and Kuro do admin this event. So we do work the event behind the scenes. And we also cast this via replays. We already had our replay cast of this a couple of days ago. But it's been great to see interest once again in 2v2, and always excited to see the pairings of players fight off against each other and face off and compete.
Yeah, we had the Finnish boys once again this time. Cyril pairing up with Duckling. Oh, but Cyril off-raced.
Yes. So if you remember back in February, Zhugelang and Cyril also played together. That was their first time competing in this event as a pairing, as the Finnish duo, and Cyril did play Zerg. Cyril played Zerg. They would double Zerg as a team. They found out the hard way that double Zerg is not a good team in 2v2. So Cyril, he has seen the light like many other players, like Clem, like Raynor, off racing as Protoss. Cyril did also play Protoss in this 2v2.
I'm also a little bit surprised. Not that Cyril off race, but specifically that he off raced with Protoss, because from what I've heard, he plays Terran quite a bit.
Yeah. I think it's probably just in 2v2s. I think Zerg and Protoss is better than Zerg and Terran as a pairing. I think I mean in general,
there's
like
carrier and swarm host combo. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
True. In general, Skytoss is just really good
Yeah.
in 2v2s. So I think
it's always nice to have at least one Protoss player on the team, right? I mean, you look at the finals. Protoss Zerg versus Terran Protoss. So
For sure. As Cyril, he alongside Zhugelang made it all the way to the semifinals. They had a great performance. Watching their games, they were actually quite aggressive. We saw a lot of cheesy builds and cheesy openers. We did have some late game when the cheese didn't work, but there was quite a bit of aggression out of Cyril and Zhugelang, which caught me a little bit by surprise. Otherwise.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, Zhuge does tend to play a little bit more aggressively, from what I remember from his appearances in Nation Wars and stuff like that. And obviously, Cyril is one to follow that lead, and would be one to follow that lead in 2v2, where it's like you can't keep him leashed up, you can't keep Zhuge leashed up, so you might as well run with him.
Exactly. They ran together all the way to the semis. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but we are missing a pairing. We're missing a duo here. We're missing the Kongs of 2v2. Spirit and Max Max, fun fact, they have won every 2v2 event that they've ever played in. They've won every single one. They are the undisputed best 2v2 players in StarCraft 2. But I would say the undisputed second best team that have arrived second place in January and in February are Trigger and Clem. Trigger and Clem, they play a lot together. They compete a lot together. But if you look at the bracket, they are on the bracket. They're on the bracket. They didn't make it to the finals.
Beaten by beaten by Knight and Larry, who are two American players who I'm not too familiar with.
Yeah, they are GMs, but they're amateur. They're not pros. Yeah, they're not pro players, but they are GMs on the NA ladder. We got the NA duo, we got the NA boys stepping into the ring, and they made it to the semis. They had a really good performance. It was cool to see like the NA ladder represented.
Yeah, USA. We got to it's like Trigger and Clem didn't get to face off against Spirit and Max Max, so the two players who beat them took up that mantle. Also weren't able to beat Spirit and Max Max. So yeah, really staying true to form there.
Exactly.
Really committed to carrying that torch.
True.
Or to following the pattern.
I do feel like we probably have to fix this Wikipedia page though, because what I will say is that it's true. Trigger and Clem, they didn't make it. They technically did get beaten by Nine Larry, but that also wasn't Trigger and Clem. So fun fact: this event was actually taking place at the same time as the Team Liquid Map Contest Wardy tournament, and Clem was playing in that. He went to the finals. He was playing in that tournament, made it all the way to the finals. We'll be going over those results later on today. But Clem was playing that tournament. So Trigger, he had to sub someone in. He got a substitute. Trigger, he was not playing with Clem in that series. Trigger, he was playing with Coconut Games. So Coco stepped in to replace Clem. And it's pretty close. It's pretty close. It's pretty, yeah.
Osmosis, you know.
Yeah, French, Terran,
yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
It's fine. But that was Trigger and Coco playing instead.
Like they played that. It's not a battle royale, but some new isometric game that came out recently that's kind of like a battle royale. So you know she got some skills through osmosis. No, not Deadlock. Isometric.
Oh.
So I don't remember what it's called.
I
have to open up Steam to find it, but yeah.
All good. So
and they do 2v2 together from time to time. Yeah. So you know, Coconut, basically Clem.
You could even argue that maybe a little bit unfair because Coconut's better than Clem.
Exactly. Yeah.
So maybe a little bit unfair there. But yes, alas, they did go down to Knight and Larry. Knight and Larry had a big performance, of course. It was great to see them take down Def Mars and Gref. Gref and Def Mars, they took down Lambo and Showtime, by the way, in the first round.
Their team name, no.
It should be Gref Mars. So yeah, some really fun performances and really good results were coming in here. I don't see Eba. Just saying, where is Eba?
That was what I was going to bring up, because you were like, someone is missing. Or you were like, some team is missing. And I'm like, yep, I don't see Eba. And I was like, oh, wait, you said team. not guy who would be in a duo if not for the divorce.
Yeah. So, you know, maybe Jimmy did take the kids and the house. It's hard to say, but Jimmy, he was there playing with young Yakov, not with Eba. Eba, nowhere to be seen, nowhere to be found. We might see Eba later on in next month's tournament. But regardless, congratulations. Shout out to Skills and Laser, though, because I mentioned before, Trigger and Clem, they're usually in the finals. They usually get second place. They're like the Sioux of 2v2. But Skills, in their you know, without Trigger and Clem here to make it that far, we had Skills and Laser, and they went all the way to the ace match against Spirit and Max Max. Like they had a good performance, had a good showing.
Yeah. Pretty good result.
For sure. So GG, well played. Congratulations once again to Spirit and Max Max, so far still undefeated when it comes to their 2v2 performances. We'll see if that continues coming into the month of April, as of course next month is going to be another 2v2 circuit as well.
Oh yeah. And we'll see. Will we get to the same finals once again, or will we actually have a different finals this time, like we did in this month.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, we will see. Of course, we'll be there to work behind the scenes, so do check it out. Likewise, if you're also out there, if you enjoy playing team games, which is more accessible than 1v1s, then consider taking part, because these tournaments, even though we do feature a lot of the pro players, it is open to all players. It is not restricted by MMR, so you can take part.
Yeah.
Yaku?
Have a pretty good time. But I would take part if someone was around still.
Milk?
Please come back, Milk.
Victor!
Please come back, man.
Oh, no. He left to get the milk. He left to get the cookies. He never came back. Oh, no.
First
One
he got
day,
the
one
milk,
day.
then he got the cookies, then he got the win, then he got the
But he
power.
But he never came home. As the milk. That leads us into another 2v2 event, but this is a little bit different. This is a StarCraft Evolution 2v2 event, and this is the second one that Bratok has hosted. If you remember, I brought it up last time, but Bratok in the CIS region, I think 3D Clan as well, they have been hosting more StarCraft Evolution tournaments, so it's been really cool to see, for whatever reason, the region has embraced StarCraft Evolution a lot more.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but yeah, CL huge over there.
Yeah. There's definitely been an uptick. Meanwhile, we do see our pairings. Spirit, this time not with MaxFax. MaxFax, he hasn't been playing StarCraft Evolution, so MaxFax, he didn't step in. Instead, we had Geralt. So Spirit and Geralt did play as a duo. Meanwhile, we had Milky Cow and Wayne pair up. GG Machine and Shameless, they were also competing in the other event. Hey, there's Deathmire and Gref. So we do have some I should say,
Crossover.
recognizable pairings that we have seen previously.
Yeah, a lot of the usual suspects.
Yeah, and coming into this, I would have expected Spirit and Geralt to be the champions. I mean, hey, Spirit, he's part of the number 1 2v2 team out there. But without Max Packs, they struggled a little bit more here, and instead, Milky Cow and Wayne come out on top.
Yeah, in a rematch. Like, I mean, hey, Spirit and Geralt, they did 2-0. Milky Cow and Wayne in the upper bracket finals, but yeah, after winning that lower bracket finals, Milky Cow and Wayne, something just clicked in them. They figured out the secret. They could win without Protoss, actually.
That's true.
That's absolutely insane to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. You know what that is? That's the difference between SC2 and StarCraft Evolution.
Right.
there you go.
There we go.
So, yeah, congratulations. Yeah, again, to emphasize, this was not in StarCraft 2, this was in StarCraft Evolution instead. So they did have a bit of a different pairing when it came to who was playing Brood War and who was playing SC2 as a race. So really cool to see. Congratulations, and I hope to see more of this in the future. Tempted to reach out to Bratok to maybe get like some English coverage going on, just because I'm always there for StarCraft Evolution, always.
Yeah. We love to see more of it.
For sure. Definitely a fun format. That, speaking of StarCraft Evolution, that leads us into the SEL Masters number 1. We have been covering the StarCraft Evolution League and the StarCraft Evolution Championship for quite some time, but now we have a new series. This is the StarCraft Evolution Masters. This is a show match series.
Indeed. And who better to kick off the inaugural show match series than the replacement man, the only one who played random in StarCraft Evolution November, and versus the Chin himself.
There you go. The Chin Toss. Classic steps into the ring. Euthermal as well. And I'll be honest, Euthermal had a very strong start. He started off 2-0, but in the end, Classic, he did get the better of him. Euthermal, he was, I would say, relying on some similar builds time and time again when he was rolling Terran and Protoss, and Classic, he was able to catch on to him over the course of the series. But as a reminder, this was a best of 7 show match, and I'm happy to see that it did go the distance. It was a back and forth. Classic did win it in the end, but Euthermal did put up a fight.
Yeah. Didn't quite go all the way to the ace match, but pretty close, 4-2. So we got 6 games at least.
For sure. So really well done. What I was most interested in is that this did feature a more unique map pool. We already spoke once about Holy World. Holy World is a new map that was added in. Another quote-unquote new map is Purity and Industry. It's been a long time since we featured that map, as that was in the map pool many years ago.
I feel like we talked about that last week, didn't we?
Yeah. True. Did speak about it, and we were able to feature it. Again, this is an updated version of Purity and Industry. Another new map is Vermeer, which I have yet to cast on, but another new map was added. That's an old Brood War map.
I would say let's take a look at what it looks like, but oh no, it's here. Oh yeah, this looks very Brute War.
Yeah, it does. it does. So it is a Brood War map, and hopefully we're able to feature it a little bit more. It's a 4-player spawn map, so always happy to see. But yeah, I do know that Hyper One and those working for or behind the scenes for StarCraft Evolution, they're very actively updating the ladder map pool. So we have a new kind of ladder map pool for the new season of SEL.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
So congratulations to Classic, and again, this is going to be like at least a monthly. I don't know if there's like a set time for it, but at least once a month. I know that Hyper One, he plans on hosting an SEL Masters.
Yeah, see who we can get on, or it's up to see who they're able to get on for this show match series.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of Spirits, more of Quanta, 3-Point, Dark. I'm sure they have plans to bring on some other faces. That leads us into another event, the StarCraft Evolution League King of the Hill #1. This was actually right after the show match. So show match right into King of the Hill.
Oh, yes, indeed. And I was actually able to watch a little bit of this one. I think I watched the final 3 matches involving Dark.
Yeah. Dark, he was able to pull off towards the end. 3-Point had a crazy run.
Now it's coming back to me, yeah.
Yeah, 3-Point, I think 3-Point has an advantage coming into this because 3-Point can be hyper cheesy. And remember, these are all best of ones. So, mate, he can cheese the hell out of you and just knock a player out real fast and real quick. On top of that, Dark was also off racing. Dark, he did not play Zerg at all. I would say the Dark is probably maybe even the best player in StarCraft Evolution right now with his Zerg.
I mean,
but
he
did decide to play
the first one, so
he did.
Yeah.
He did win the championship.
He did, and this time decided to go a little bit differently, playing, for the most part, it looked like he played SC2. The SC2 races, version of Terran and Protoss.
Yeah, and he did have a really strong performance here, even playing Protoss and Terran. It was impressive to see him actually control and play well with Protoss and Terran. So really cool to see. I mean, Dark has been playing and off-racing more Protoss in recent times in SE2, so yeah, that skill came into play here as well. So it's great to see some off-racing Dark, a 3-Point popping off. Again, this is more of like an impromptu event, but I believe there's also plans to make this also a monthly event as well. So yeah, just more StarCraft Evolution events.
I also like this little narrative in the tournament itself. You have Rebellion being knocked out by 3-Point in match 2. Later down the line in match 8, who is the player to knock out 3-Point? Rebellion coming back for revenge.
There you go. There you go. So Rebellion, he did get his revenge in the end. Very well done. Very well played. That leads us into, from a couple of days ago, this week's Kung Fu Cup. Now, Kung Fu Cup has been on hiatus and has been very... it hasn't been very regular, is what I will say. But now we have confirmation Kung Fu Cup is back as a bi-weekly. And right now their plan is Kung Fu Cup this week with StarCraft Evolution. Next week, Warcraft 3 Evolution.
Hell yeah. Get some Zug in there.
Exactly. So Kung Fu Cup, they're going to be alternating. They're going to be alternating back and forth between StarCraft Evolution and Warcraft 3 Evolution. But what I will say is that they have their own unique formats. I don't know if you noticed, but typically in SCL events, the way that it works is it is strictly Brood War versus SE2, and it is loser's pick. Here, instead, the format is Game 1, Brood War versus SE2, Game 2, SC2 versus Brood War. Game 3, free to choose
match,
for the ace match. But in the best of 5, they actually forced Brood War versus Brood War in Game 3 and SC2 versus SC2 in Game 4.
Yeah, I completely overlooked that.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that we haven't seen before, especially because StarCraft Evolution is not balanced for Brood War versus Brood War, so we never see those two pairings. But specifically for Kung Fu Cup, they have this something more custom, something more unique. It does make it different, which is a lot of fun. And yeah, it was something that we weren't really expecting. Even the players didn't know. Like when we were getting ready for the finals, they were like, "Wait, what? We're gonna play Brood War versus Brood War?" I was like, "Okay, I guess so."
Yeah, it's rare to you see. It's rare that you'll see players follow the rules like that.
Yeah, it caught them off guard, and for sure, it caught them off guard, and we saw Bjorn. Actually, if you remember, this is where I shared some screenshots earlier. This is where that came from this tournament. But Bjorn, he did pop off here. Fun fact: this is Bjorn's second StarCraft Evolution event, and he did let us know he had no idea what he was doing. He was like, I don't really play StarCraft Evolution. I'm just here to wing it, and he had a lot of fun here. And he did perform quite well.
That he did, winning the whole thing. I mean, looking at just the bracket itself, not ignoring the notable participants list, which definitely also. Some pretty strong players coming in there, but looking at the round of 8 itself, I would have predicted either Classic or Mana winning this whole thing.
Well, actually, because the bracket was quite large if you open it up on Challenge, coming into it, I was expecting Classic and Spirit, to be honest. I was expecting Classic and Spirit to make it to the finals and to face off.
Spirit, for sure.
Classic, he got a massive upset. Mana went crazy, and he took down so many Protoss players to make it to the finals. But Spirit... there was a big upset that happened in the first round. I believe Indy was casting it. Spirit, he got taken out by more of an amateur Korean Protoss player. And if you want to know what happened there, Spirit, he got carrier rushed. He got cheesed the hell out. That was,
of course.
It was crazy. Specifically, it was on an island map as well.
And in both Brood War and in SC2.
Exactly. So he got cheesed out. They were playing on Paradox, which is an island map. And Spirit, I think he opened 2-on-1, like double medevac drop from Marine, and his opponent rushed carrier with cannons back at home. He survived. He defended against the 2-on-1, and then counterattacked with like 4 carriers, and Spirit GG'd out. Like he just didn't know what he was just done. He had nothing. So it was a really early end for Spirit, really surprising as well, and it kind of opened things up for Bjorn to make it through instead.
Yeah, really surprising. I mean, I would have loved to have seen a Bjorn versus Spirit match there. Both of them SC2 versus Brood War and Brood War versus SC2, but
yeah,
is what it is in the end.
Yeah, I know that Homeowner was very thankful. He was like, "Thank God, like you sniped Spirit." Oh God, I was like, it was crazy. And Homeowner, he cheesed the hell out of the guy that cheesed the hell out of Spirit,
of course,
as you can imagine. Yeah,
and it's just a cycle of Korea.
It is. So that's how that series went.
I also noticed Skillus waiting a long time, getting 2 walkovers, and then facing Bjorn in his birth. That's rough. That's like, I have to wait so long. In the end, it turns out my opponents aren't even showing up. So I got walked over. Okay, finally I can play a match. And it's against Bjorn.
Yeah. Feels Nikita, man. Feels Nikita. And I was favoring Nikita in the series, but Bjorn actually cheesed the hell out of Skillus. Bjorn, for Brood War Terran, he had like it looked like, because he's played this once before, but it looked like he had basically concocted like an all-in for Brood War Terran, and he just went for it. Like whenever against Skillus, he went for it. He went for the same build against Skillus, Minuvk, and Mana, and he won with it every time he played Brood War Terran. So he was just very committed to that cheese, that aggression. But congratulations to Bjorn for winning his very first StarCraft Evolution tournament. I remember at the end of it, I was like, "Oh, yo, Bjorn, you're so good." He's like, "I don't know how I keep winning." He was like, "I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just Gosu." Oh my God.
Whale, has he discovered lockdown yet? Are we gonna get Some
Not
old
yet,
Ghost
not
King
yet.
action out of him. Oh, he's
I
gonna
want to
have
see
to.
that. Yeah, for sure.
We gotta
for sure.
introduce it to him.
We will.
We-
So congratulations to beyond shout to Mana as well. I don't want to gloss.
Yeah.
I don't want to like overshadow that, but Mana had a really strong performance, specifically to defeat Classic to make it all the way to the finals.
Yeah, really strong showing. I mean, again, Classic would be somebody who I would favor, who I would consider to be one of the favorites in SC Evolution. But Mana, he proves that there's a reason why he managed to avoid that Chicken Lord hat
Mhm.
back when SC Boy had that little show tournament.
For sure.
I was the first to make it out. I also do want to, since you mentioned it earlier, I also do want to. I feel like the viewers need to know this. We also have confirmation. Bjorn went to the gym after he won.
He did. He did. Yes. Well, actually, it was he had played in the tournament that morning, and then he had gone to the gym, and then he came back and he played in.
Okay. So I'm getting my timeline a bit mixed up, but he did go to the gym on the day.
He did. And then he took the selfie, and then bam.
Yeah.
Went to Reddit.
Coincidence?
But that leads us into the rest of our events. That leads us into Code for Giants Cup. Code for Giants Cup number 21. That was a couple of days ago. We had our, of course, bi-weekly Brazilian tournament. And once again, we had our regulars. I will say that Inexorable was missing once again this week, though. So no Inexorable.
Yeah. A little bit of a shame there. We kind of miss that triumvirate from the region. Eric, the Zerg player, Master, the Protoss player, and Inexorable, the Terran player. But something I would say instead is I feel like for the past couple of weeks, we've had quite a few upsets leading up into the finals. But finally, this time, we actually have the finals that we expected, and it indeed went quite the distance. Eric versus Master went all the way to game number 5.
Oh yeah, where Zerg players are struggling globally, we have Eric thriving locally in Brazil.
Just play like Eric.
Just play like Eric, but true, as he has his own unique Eric opener, of course, that has been playing for the past couple of months. Eric went up against Master, was very close, very clutch. They're both very familiar with each other. Even though Eric has a unique playstyle, Master is very familiar with that playstyle. Because that we have a lot of mind games, we have a lot of just back and forth between the two of them. Did go to the ace match. Eric did barely clutch it out.
Indeed. As we expect.
There you go. GG, well played. So Eric does claim the win. Congratulations. We, of course, were covering that here in English over on the CranKy Ducklings. That leads us into the Sunrise Cup number 191, our regional Chinese event, or weekly event.
Yeah, with a little bit of an unfortunate finals here by the looks of things. Looks like it did end up in a walkover.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame just because usually like signups and participation is definitely a big thing for Sunrise Cup. But this week, Oriana does get the win again, by the way. I believe that's 2 weeks in a row. But there was a forfeit in the finals. Unfortunately, it looks like the event itself was a little bit less complete than it usually is, and we weren't able to get that finals that we wanted.
Yeah, we're also definitely missing a couple of familiar faces here.
For sure. So hopefully next week, it is a little bit more filled up. Do wish the organizers the best of luck, and I do hope to see Oriana win again, but this time in a proper series is what we want here from Oriana. So GG. Also, congratulations to Oriana.
Yeah, I'm appreciating some of the names I don't recognize, specifically Mad Life, who made it to the semifinals. What a name.
Not to be confused with Mad Lad. Not quite. Not Piotr.
Not to be confused with MedLife either.
For sure. So congratulations to Oriana. That leads us into there you go. That leads us into Fairy Cup number 14. The Fairy Cups have been very irregular, is what I will say. They've been very irregular when it comes to their events, but this time we had 2 show matches between Zound, Shameless, Bjorn, and Sunset.
Yes. 2 show matches that we've had here. One of them was Shameless versus Zound, the other one was Bjorn versus Sunset. It took me a little while to piece together. It was like, yes, we had Shameless, Zound, Bjorn, and Sunset. I was like, right. Yes. And it was It wasn't a FFA or anything.
Mhm.
2 show matches,
Yeah.
Shameless versus Zalon. That honestly, we know that Zalon's a really strong player, but honestly, I'm a little bit surprised that he did get that 4-0. Shameless,
Yeah,
he's not only pretty strong, but I feel like PvP is his specialty as well.
Yeah, I feel like Shameless definitely had it in him to make a series out of this. Unfortunately, it was more one-sided. Same with the other best of 7 as well. They were both best of 7s. Zan and Beyond did win them in the end. Sunset is more of an up-and-comer player from Ukraine, is what I will say. So that was a little bit more one-sided, but definitely I was hoping to see a little bit more from Shameless. Regardless, Zan and Beyond are still very strong, very powerful opponents, so difficult to bring any of them down. GG well played. What I will say is that I do appreciate that, again, Fairy Cup, they do host a lot of these events to help out their players, to give them opportunities against some of these bigger names. Both Sunset and Shameless are a part of Little Fairy, so they're both a part of the team. So they were both featured here for this event.
Yeah. Got a little bit more eyes on them as a result, and yeah, managed to take home a little bit of prize money.
For sure. For sure. That leads us into the Lily Cup number 35.
Yes!
Best of 7 between Lancer and Gumiho.
Indeed. It says Cyan here on the Liquipedia, but yeah, we do have confirmation that that is Lancer in the end. Gumiho ended up taking the victory here, 4-2. Very nice showing by Gumiho, and also a really good from Lancer to fight back. But honestly, Light, I'm just glad that we have our graphic back.
I was about to say, when it comes to the graphic, look, I'm just saying, does it really take much
Cyan's body? The rest
doesn't
of
take
Cyan's
much to
body.
Doesn't take much to snap Cyan's body to the edge of the graphic like they did for Gumiho. Like why is he floating in the air?
And here's the thing, he's not just floating in the air. His text, his name,
it's
higher
higher
than Gumiho's name.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
higher in
that's
the placement.
that's gonna bother Kura. You have Cyan in full uppercase. It's not even his name anymore. It's Lancer, and you have Gumiho in full lowercase. Remember, Gumiho, he has capitals in his name,
like
by the way. Like,
yeah, he has like 3 capital letters in his name. I don't remember which ones they are, but
I don't know why they gave Cyan
the M and the
Cyan,
H.
and even when Lancer was Cyan, he didn't have full capitals there either. So I don't know. I don't know who typed the names, and I don't know why they placed the bodies where they are. But
He's got like just a missing abdomen.
This is beautiful.
It's like he got cut in half. He's just been split in half, and now he's flying. I love it. He can levitate now.
Look, I don't say this too often, but I'll
is?
say this here.
No, what do you want to say?
I don't say this often, but I'll say this here. I feel like if I made Yaku remake this, I think Yaku would do a better job. I'll be honest, mate. I'll be honest.
I was gonna say
I feel like Yaku would even...
Scathing.
This is
That's
a strong.
scathing critique.
This is a strong vibe of 4 a.m. Oh shit, we don't have a graphic.
But even then, you would
Throw
like at
something
least
together in GIMP, yeah.
You type their names correctly. You'd have like a margin for like to make sure everything's aligned at least. Like you'd have like a template for that, you know. Like, it's fine. It's fine. I'm also
And
pretty
like
sure.
GIMP and Photoshop all have those tools, and like, they will show the alignment.
I could be mistaken, but I think the name Lily Cup 35 in the center there is actually off center from the time in the middle.
It is off center. It's slightly to
the right.
The 3 is to the left. Yeah, if you notice.
Yeah. God damn
Somebody
it.
somebody accidentally turned off the alignment tool.
Yo, whoever makes the graphics for Lily Cup, we love you. Keep
it up.
Keep it up. Keep up the good work. It's the best part. It's the but shout out to Gumiho and Lancer for having their best of 7 show match. Of course, Gumiho did end up winning, but shout out to Lancer for making a series out of it. Again, Lancer most recently did knock Maru out of Lily Cup, the big major event, and here able to even show off against Gumiho a little bit. So very impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah. Great stuff. Like Seals pointed out, even Cyan, the photo they took from Cyan is the one where he looked at this graphic. He was not impressed.
Not impressed, mate. Not impressed. God damn it. So congratulations to Gumiho. That leads into our next show match. Of course, that leads us into the Super 733. We had a show match between Sort of and Bunny.
Oh, nice to see more sort of coming in here. I think you know what it was. They told him that there was something where he didn't have to play against Protoss,
True.
and he was
really,
all in.
that's the only reason why he agreed. That's true. Again, Sort of, he has been quite a regular streamer in recent months, has been streaming quite a lot recently, of course, streaming a little bit more AoE4 than SE2. But regardless, it is a pleasant surprise to see him invited to this show match. Does go down to Bunny. Bunny is a big name. Bunny, he's a very hot player right now. He's definitely been getting better results. So not an easy opponent to go up against, but a shout out to Sort of regardless for competing in this event.
Yeah. So as I see, and yeah, as you were saying, it pretty much went how we all pretty much expected. Bunny did get the 4-0, but it's always nice to see sort of just still being involved in the scene.
For sure. That leads us into the Super 734. This was a lot more of a competitive series here. It was MaxPax and Dark were invited. Now, what's exciting about this is that Dark has been very inactive. Dark has been very inactive as of late. He has not been playing in too many events. Of course, IRL commitments and the upcoming commitment into the military service is on the horizon, so Dark has just been less active. Despite that, but because of that, I did lean heavily towards MaxPax. MaxPax, he has not been inactive. MaxPax right now is in full form. He is right now at his peak condition. He, of course, recently won the League Cup, the big major online event, over even Clem. But MaxPax did not take this. Did not take the best of 7.
He did not. Dark actually took this seriously, didn't off-race, and was able to get the 4-2.
Yeah, I would say this is an upset, by the way. Like, I respect to Dark, of course, but MaxPax is very much so in form. He even recently beat several, of course. Yeah. It was I mean, he beat him in Master Coliseum, and he beat him in the League Cup as well. So MaxPax has been on fire as of late. Despite that, does fall to Dark. Dark does have a unique style, though, different to Serral, different to Raynor. So Dark does have a different tempo to him. I will say that at least. But yeah, that's a very impressive result. Very impressive.
Without a doubt. Man.
Yeah, he's still got it.
He still got it.
Yeah.
Still popping.
Damn.
There.
Yeah, exactly. So GG well played. Congratulations to Dark for defeating MaxPax 4-2. Very impressive. That leads us into the Bastos Big Brain Bounce number 88. Typically we have a theme here for these events. It looks like we did feature another mirror matchup, which is a rarity. But we did feature it here for the final match between Björn and Bunny.
Even the names, man. Even the names are like somewhat mirrored. That's a mouthful. Bunny versus Björn. Bjarni.
Yeah, the Bjarni duo did face off in the best of 5 main event. We also featured another mirror matchup in Bonan versus Art in the PvP. We did have Iba versus Moja in a ZVT. So this is where Iba was. We were looking for him earlier in the 2v2s. And we also featured Midovk versus Baby Marine as well. Some big results coming in here, actually.
Yeah. So first off, we of course have Art beating Bonan, which this isn't too unexpected. Bonan is a little bit more of a semi-pro compared to Art, who is a little bit of an up-and-comer, but I mean, he's been very active in a lot of CIS events and getting pretty good placement, so yeah, I would say that that's probably the expected result. Iba versus Moja. I would have honestly expected Moja this to be able to go all the way to the ace match, but Iba popped off, got the 3-1.
Yeah, big win there for Iba. Iba, I'm sure he's happy to see that he did not play against a Protoss. He's like, thank God. He also has similar thoughts to Sort of in that respect.
Yeah. So finally was able to, don't face Protoss, suddenly win. Coincidence? Probably.
Let's go.
But
that's probably.
Probably. But speaking of having to face a Protoss, Baby Marine did end up playing in a TVP versus Mindel VK, and Mindel VK, a little bit on a roll here, winning against Baby Marine and having a pretty good showing as well in SC Evo earlier on.
Yeah, I would say this is an upset. Like, I mean, I love to Minnow VK, but when we spoke about it, like in recent months and recent times, Minnow VK has been stepping a little bit back from competing and playing and more streaming and making content. But I might have to rethink that a little bit in recent weeks because, as you mentioned, Minnow VK has been investing a lot of time in StarCraft Evolution. He's been looking quite solid in that, and for him to 3-0 Baby Marine, that is a big win for Minnow VK.
Yeah, Baby Marine on the flip side has been getting a lot more active. He has been participating a lot more in weekly events than he has in the past. He's really been ramping them up, but Minnow VK it just was on point that day.
100%. Like, really strong showing there by Minnow VK. I would say that Babe Marine right now is in form. We're going to get into his results later when it comes to the Open Cups, but he has been getting some very, very good results in those Open tournaments recently. So congratulations to Minnow VK, and of course congratulations to Björn, as Björn versus Bunny to go all the way to the ace match. It went the distance. Big TVT there. TVTs I feel like are a little bit more of a rarity nowadays, so actually looking forward to seeing that. And congratulations, Björn. You're not wrong. Not as rare as EBC. You're not wrong. But congratulations to Björn. Really well done.
Yeah. Björn beats the bunny.
That he does. And that leads us into the Big Brain Bouts number 89. This was actually played out not too long ago. This was played out yesterday. We had another big event here featuring some players that we actually recognize. Yo, Toon Dragon.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Toon Dragon mentioned, Singapore mentioned. Hell yeah.
Yeah, Toon Dragon at least
victory as well. So
yeah, from my recollection, Toon Dragon, I believe he was Diamond last time we casted him, but it's been a couple of years, so he might have leveled up since then. But it's great to see him again. It's been a long time.
Yeah. As see people getting more. Once again, just people who we recognize from way in the past who have gone on a little bit of a hiatus, now getting back in here.
100%.
I'm trying to remember how old Toon Dragon is. I think he's a little bit on the younger side.
Yeah,
might have that hiatus. That hiatus might have been due to military, but yeah.
Yeah, regardless, great to see Toon Dragon once again. Does take the 3-0. That leads us into Sebestis versus Art in a PvP, not to be confused with the other Art that we had last week. This is a different Art, but still a PvP Protoss, nonetheless. So, Yep, both Protoss. Both used to be on the Platinum Heroes, but Art does take the win 3-1 over Sebestis. Very impressive, very nicely done there. It does bring him down. That leads into Nikic versus Milky Cow here. Nikic popping off, gets the 3-1. I would say that in recent times we've seen a little bit more from Milky Cow, but Nikic does take the win, so very impressive win there for Nikic.
Yeah. Very nicely done, and then, of course, that leads us into our main event. Solar versus Showtime, and this went the distance. It went all the way. Showtime getting a very strong lead 2-0 at the start, but Solar being able to reverse sweep him beyond there. What does this mean for the villain arc?
Yaku, I'm glad you brought it up. Yaku.
Because this was actually a pretty good week for Solar.
Yaku, I think it's over.
Over?
I think this week.
Has he?
This week.
Has the redemption arc begun?
I think last week Solar hit rock bottom. I think last week you've been talking about it for a long time. You were like, mate, the villain arc won't end until he cannot fall any longer. And mate, we've been chronicling his villain arc for a while. It's been having a lot of rough losses over the past couple of months. But Yaku, I think he hit rock. Mate, nowhere to go but up.
Climbing back up slowly, surely, and very painfully.
Yes.
He's climbing back up, gets the reverse sweep against Showtime, and again, there's going to be more results from Sola that are coming in later that we have much to talk about, but villain arc over. This is the beginning of the redemption arc?
This week is the beginning of his redemption, 100%. I believe Yaku. I believe he
let the
finally
dark side pass through him.
He did. He stopped fighting against the darkness, against the smoke. He embraced it, and now he's surpassed, or he's in the process of surpassing it.
Is that what you're going for? I thought it was going to be like he stopped fighting the Smoge, And instead, well, I guess embrace works for your metaphor, because I was thinking he went deep into his psyche. He faced the dark mirror version of himself, and he gave that dark version of him a hug. And he said, "I forgive you."
Exactly. For those that are curious, like Solar, he's been in his villain arc for since EWC. Like it's after his time abroad, enjoying the beaches, having his time in the sun.
Life without Protoss.
Exactly, life without Protoss. Like he's been, it's been a rough going here for Solar. He has, I would say, been slumping a little bit, but this week, all that hard work is finally paying off. It does feel like he's back on that grind set. He is improving once again. He is beating Protoss. He takes down Showtime 3-2. Big win here for Solar, and that is a sign of things to come when it comes to the Open Cups.
Oh yeah. Great showing all around. We kind of blew past what the theme for this week's Basilisk Bout is, and I think I figured it out.
Yeah.
Flags with red in them.
Okay, sure. I think that's
and
most
the more
flags,
red,
but...
the more red is the one that won. Like you see, Toon Dragon versus Aegis, Art versus Zebes, Nikich versus Milky Cow. Solar. Wait. Oh wait, what?
No.
That doesn't really work.
I mean, regardless, congratulations to Solar and big win. The theme here is redemption. Okay, Nikich redemption arc.
Nikich redemption arc, Solar redemption arc, Toon Dragon Singapore redemption arc.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Arts. Why not? Yeah, sure. I'm sure he redeemed something.
He redeemed a voucher, a gift card.
Code.
He redeemed the Matcherino code.
Let's go. So congratulations to our winning players here in the Big Brain Bouts. That leads us into the OSC Elite Rising Star number 14. This is now slowly... still ongoing, still progressing. We do have updates here on the challenge in regards to the round of 16. Inexorable takes down Rennie Hour 2-0. Big win there for Inexorable. Night Phoenix takes down Shameless 2-1. Yo, I think it was starting last week. Yeah, Night Phoenix, he's been getting some big wins.
Very big win here, yeah.
Not bad. We have Nickrat. Nickrat takes down Sebestes. Eva gets a walkover over Hatsu. Unfortunately, Hatsu unavailable to compete. Midovicane takes down Rebellion 2-1. Percival takes down Hormono 2-0. Yo, Percival also been hot recently. He's also been getting some good results. Art takes down Lunacy, and Jumi still playing against Hydra.
I feel like Percival versus Hormono is particularly fitting. Because I feel like they are from two completely different eras. I know Percival isn't quite as cheesy or disgusting as Honmono is, but he had a little bit of that vibe. The up-and-comer who had a little bit of a quirky style, the absolute Chad, according to many of his fans. I remember many a conversation with Oreo about this, about how Percival is just an absolute Chad going on there, and I'm glad to see the two eras kind of colliding here there.
Yeah, exactly. The D-Gen and the chat.
Slightly less D-Gen.
Exactly.
The chat D-Gen versus the regular D-Gen. D-Gen versus D-Gen Premium.
Beautiful. So congratulations to Percival for winning that. As you alluded to, this event is most likely going to take place for the next couple of months. It's gonna take a while to progress through the OC Elite Rising Star 14, but we will be there to give you those updates as rounds go on.
Indeed. So far, we're in the upper bracket. We are waiting on Percival versus Mindel VK, Nickrat versus Eba, Night Phoenix versus Inexorable, and Polish Art versus either Jumi or Hydra.
Oh, exactly. So we'll keep you guys updated. That leads us into...
I now notice that we have the other Art as well here in the lower bracket.
Yeah, it won't get confusing at all. Goddamn.
You know what? We should just start... We should specify them now. Art versus ART, because that one's in all caps.
No, we'll figure it out.
To shorten the name, we'll start calling him Artie.
Oh no, that's
Artie.
What about Artosis? What do you do? What do you?
And then we have to figure something out for Artosis. Already, it's confusing no matter how you slice it.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
It's like a
But that
pizza
does lead
that
us.
got cut by someone who doesn't know math. I almost said geometry, but that's no geometry. Yeah, that's the thing with pizza. Shapes.
There you go. Shapes. Pizza's real. Get some pizza.
Pizza is real. I had pizza yesterday.
Yeah, that leads us into the Open Cups. That leads us into Sparkling Tuna Cup number 83. This was, of course, the most recent STC. We do have another one tomorrow. But this was featuring the Team Liquid Map Contest maps. So a new unique addition here, at least while voting is open. We were featuring the TLMC. We had, once again, a lot of signups, a lot of competitors here tonight. We had some returning champions. We had Björn, we had Christiana, Geralt, Skillis, Nikita, Trigger, Percival. The lineups were insane, and a lot of fun matches as well. A lot of fun.
Big bracket this time.
Oh yeah, we have that big bracket. We have Björn. Björn took down Eba 2-1. Eba, he was smudging a little bit. He honestly had a really good showing, and maybe that's alluding to Eba's series previously against Moja, but Eba's been looking really good in ZVT. And honestly, Eba, he almost took Björn down as well. Like he had a lot of very close games. Yeah, he.
I remember this one. This is the one where I think Björn had a very hard awakening, or a very unpleasant awakening regarding the air blockers.
100%. So Eba, he was able to pop off. Honestly, he almost won on Persephone as well, so he had a very close series, but Björn didn't take it in the end. Likewise, Cristiano takes down Geralt 2-0, taking down his countrymen. Ooh. Again, they often go back and forth. And he went to the ace match against Björn, also almost went Cristiano's way. Had a very close series against Björn, went the distance. So Björn did not have an easy road to the grand finals. Likewise, I was expecting Nikita to face off against Björn, but Trigger had other plans. We have featured Trigger's PvP before. We've seen Trigger defeat Max Pax in the Monday Night Weeklies in the past. Trigger, he takes down Skillis 2-0.
Yeah, takes on Trigger 2-0, and I guess there was something in the water that day, because Trigger went on to the grand finals, also defeats Björn 3-0. Trigger defeating Björn, I wouldn't be too surprised, but telling me that Trigger completely had a clean sweep against Björn, that surprises me.
Oh yeah, mate, he beat Björn so bad, Björn, he went to the gym. He
lawyered up after that, yeah.
Yeah, that's what motivated him. It was what motivated him to head towards that gym to get them gains, Bappy, to unleash the smudge. But yeah, Trigger, very strong showing here. Again, we've been hyping up Trigger for the past, almost like 6 months. Basically, ever since he's been in Korea, he has been improving. So this is a very strong showing here by Trigger. Very well done. GG, well played. Is going to be the most recent Tuna champion. When it comes to after this event, I did inquire, I did ask the players if they had any strong thoughts about the maps. Björn, he was actually quite different, despite losing on Last Fantasy. He was actually quite fond of it, or I should say, I asked him, like, do you have any strong thoughts on a 3-player spawn map? And he said he does want one in the map pool. He said that diversity and variety is a good thing, so he was very much so fond of the idea of having a 3-player spawn map. He was for it. I asked Trigger about it. Trigger, he was a little bit more on the fence, specifically on Last Fantasy. He said that he was a little bit concerned about maybe cheeses on Last Fantasy, so he was a little bit concerned about early game, but he wasn't too sure. He also was a little bit uncertain about Persephone having the healing pad. He was expressing some concerns there, but overall, like, he was happy to like have a new map pool anyway. He just had like some like reservations about certain maps.
Yeah.
But both players said that they haven't played enough on them. But both players agreed, we just haven't played enough on them. So it's hard to have like a strong stance on anything.
Next week they're gonna completely reverse it all.
True.
They're gonna be like, Last Fantasy, those air blockers, man. Yeah.
True. Meanwhile, that leads us into the WardyTV Monday number 26. That leads us into this week's Open Cup, and we had, I would say, crazy upset. Go on.
Yeah. Well, first I was going to say the first one where placements actually determine your seed in the Spring Championship. So, yeah, we do have a little bit of a result from there. Hero, of course, as the champion, will be seeded directly to the Spring Championship second stage. But as you were saying, absolutely massive upset here in the quarterfinals. We, of course, are talking, well, actually 2 massive upsets here in the quarterfinals now that I think about it. Actually 3, now that I'm mentioning it. So first off, we have Byun.
Yep.
I believe being the first Terran player, or the first Korean Terran player, beating Clem's Protoss.
Yeah, this is going to be a trend this week. But as you mentioned, Clem has been looking very dominant as Protoss and PvT as of late. But this week, he has been struggling a little bit more. Byun does bring him down 2-0. We weren't able to cover that series ourselves, but that is a very strong result here by Byun. You could make an argument that Clem has the best PvT in the world. Or at least one of the best PvTs in the world. So that's a big result there for Byun. Big upset, I would say.
Absolutely huge. Meanwhile, our second upset, arguably an even bigger upset here. The redemption arc for Solar continues. Beats MaxPax in a 2-1, no off racing, so he actually had to beat the Protoss player in front of him.
Oh, yeah. And mate, do you know how he did it? Mate, he cheesed the hell out of him. Not quite, but
not,
a bunch of
go full shin, huh?
Yeah, a bunch of 2 base all-ins, 2.5 base all-ins, 3 base all-ins, so a lot of aggression out of Solar. He did knock MaxPax out of the tournament. I would say another, I think, I was even favoring Bunny in the last series. Solar, he 2-0'd Bunny as well.
You had that faith in Solar.
In
his rock bottom.
Exactly. So I would say that this was the beginning of his redemption arc. We spoke about his show match in the Big Brain Bouts. That was yesterday. This was at the start of the week, and this was the beginning here of Solar's rise. Solar, he may not have made it to the finals, but to take down Bunny, to take down MaxPax, and to force Hero to the ace match, this was a big result for Solar. A big win and very, very impressive run.
Without a doubt here. Ended up falling to Hero, but I mean, even taking a map off of Hero, again, it was the start of his redemption arc. You're gonna have to wait a little while and let things build up before he gets before the end, the climax of the arc.
Exactly. So really impressive performance here out of Solar, exceeding expectations and beating MaxPax and Bunny as well, and the ace match against Hero. Hero did win the event in the end, and again, Hero, he's usually favored for these open cups. Usually it's like Hero or Clem or MaxPax to take the win. In the end, Hero does take this week's Water TV Monday. That leads us into the Monday Night Weekly.
Yes, which once again.
Yeah,
Redemption. That's the name of the game. As this time we had Solar, first off, being able to beat Byun, then went on to beat Clem in a 2-1, and then went on to get his revenge against Hero, not once, but twice in the same night.
Exactly. Same night. That's what's important. It goes from Water TV Monday straight into the Monday Night Weeklies, straight into the Pegasaur Monday as well, which Solar didn't play because he did go to sleep. I have confirmation on that I did sleep after this. But yeah, as you said,
got a bit after that. Yeah,
he's not full degen like Hero. Hero played in all 3. But Solar. Yeah, he was able to have a really strong showing here, as you mentioned, right off the back of a semifinals place in the previous tournament. He wins the Monday Night Weekly. We were alluding to like the fact that he's not a degen. Solar is not typically one to stay up this late to play in these tournaments, and he went the whole 9 yards. Like he committed.
He committed. He stayed up a little bit to play in this, and walked out not just as a champion, but also won the Zerg bounty as being, by default, if you're the champion and you're a Zerg player, you are the highest placing Zerg. So
there you go. He double dipped, mate. He double dipped, got the highest placing award. He won the entire event. Big win here for Solar. Again, there's a reason why we are saying Redemption Week here for Solar, as he just completely popped off.
Redemption season. Let's go.
Potential is the beginning. Yeah. Beginning of the season. Year of Soul, let's go. As Hero, he also had a good performance, of course, for this event. He took down Gabe. Hero Marine, hey, this might be his first weekly in a while. Remember, Gabe, he typically doesn't play in these open cups. He has expressed his disdain for this kind of format as well because of double elimination. But Gabe did decide to play this time. He got knocked out by Clem's Protoss. Again, Clem's Protoss is terrifying. And we even saw Clem get his revenge, actually. He took down Byun as well.
He did. Hero Marine actually almost played almost nothing but TVP. If this bracket is to anything go off of. Did face Fiant, so had a little bit of TVZ, but other than that.
What you're saying is that Hero Marine, he spoke about how he doesn't like how long these events are, how it's purely TVP, and that's what I meant. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened here when he played.
Yep.
True. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. But Hero, of course, he took down Hero Marine. He took down Max 2-0. Big win there for Hero. And he went toe-to-toe against Solar. Meanwhile, Hero, he was the one that finally eliminated Clem. Took down Clem in the best of one in the lower bracket finals. And I don't want to gloss over this either because Max, he actually got eliminated by Björn. Björn took down Max in that lower match as well.
Actually, yeah, I missed that. Wasn't paying enough attention there. That's... Oh man, things are starting to not look as clear-cut, it seems. Where previously we had our... I'm hoping this isn't just a one-week thing. I'm hoping this continues, where we actually do get a bit more competitive, where we can't just... Where it's not always, right, just going to be Clem, Max in the finals. Occasionally Hero or Dark.
Yeah, well, like, historically, as you mentioned, right, like, it's always Clem, Max or Hero. I feel like the three of them are usually the finalists for a lot of these tournaments, but specifically this week, as you mentioned, Björn has been competitive, Solar as well, right? Like, they did shake up this week's brackets in a good way, so really cool to see some different players here winning and making it to the finals and being our champions. So congratulations to Solar for winning his very first Monday Night Weekly, a European weekly, might I add. Again, not even in his own time zone or time slot, so a lot was working against him, did win in the end. That leads us into the Big Star Monday, number 22, that very next morning.
Indeed, and yeah, this is one that we kind of have come to expect a little bit more of. Max, our champion, facing Hero in the grand finals, as Clem, suspiciously absent this time.
Yeah, and we had, I would say that we had a bit of an interesting trifecta, if not even more than that, of players pulling all-nighters. Specifically, Hero, Björn, and Max. The three of them played in all three. They played in all three tournaments. Hero in recent times has been. That's true. Same with Max, but Björn joined them this time. You know, Björn, he went full degen once again. He's been a little bit less degen as of late, but not this time. Björn, Hero, and Max, they played in all three.
You know what it is? It's that gym. It gave him more energy. It gave him, it let him go to distance.
Let's go. So congratulations here to Max as Max he gets his revenge. Again, some of these players might be, you know, dipping their toes into the degen, but no, Max has been here the entire time. Gets his revenge over the Terrans here, takes down Bunny, takes down Hero, and takes down Hero in the finals.
How's it saying go? You merely adopted the degen. I was born a degen. Molded in degen.
Yes. So Max he was able to get that final Monday Cup win here by claiming the Pegasus Monday. So congratulations here to Max. He does redeem himself, as he had a bit of a rougher performance in some of these other events, in some of these other cups. Does still win a weekly this week, so congratulations here to Max. Does still claim a win. That leads us into the Hub Cup number 7. This is a bi-weekly event, not as regular as some of the other weeklies, but again, did host it nonetheless. And once again, we had a strong run out of Solar. Again, redemption, Pappy. Solar, what happened? He took down Trigger. Trigger has been on fire as of late. And he even 2-0'd Max in the upper bracket semifinals. Did lose to him in the end, but he did bring him down, even taking down Gabe, as Gabe even popped. Oh my, Gabe. He popped up like crazy.
He's playing more, yeah. And this time he didn't have to face as many Protoss players. Let's go.
Big win. Gabe takes it. He 2-0's Björn. He 2-1's Clem. Clem's Protoss as well. So again, this a bit of a trend this week. Clem, he lost to Björn earlier. Here he loses to Gabe as well. So Clem showing a little bit of weakness with his Protoss in this week is what I will say. Gabe does lose to Solar in the end, and Solar does bring him down. But Max he does get the rematch win here. Max he lost 0-2, but Max he does get his revenge in the finals.
I want to point out, we also had Max versus Clem this week, but only in a best of one. I think that's the only time they face each other this week.
Yeah,
in a best of one.
That's all they had. That's all they had this
All
week.
they had.
In the end, MaxPax did take him down. MaxPax also eliminated Gabe from the tournament in the lower bracket finals. But regardless, a strong performance by a lot of these players here, and really cool to see Solar continuing that reign. Solar may not have won this event, but he did already beat MaxPax in this tournament already. So that's a crazy win there for Solar. Crazy result.
Absolutely. He be climbing. He's climbing himself out of that pit of darkness.
Yeah. Exactly. Very, very impressive. That leads us into that very next couple of hours later. Actually, that same day. That same day that leads us into the Turtle Tussle. Actually, that leads us into our Turtle Tussle, into our Open Cup. Once again, we were featuring Team Liquid Map Contest maps. So this was the TLMC edition of the Turtle Tussle, where we had a Solar stepping into the ring, takes down Shameless, takes down Jumi, and he had a banger of a finals against Bian.
Went the absolute distance all the way to the ace match, but in the end, Solar be redeeming. And was able to take the victory over Bian. Yeah.
He wins the Monday Night Weekly. He wins the Tenacious Turtle Tussle as well. Congratulations. Big win there for Solar. As Solar has been on a tear this week. He is on that redemption arc. Does claim the win. It was a close finals between himself and Bian. I will say that. It was a very close, very clutch finals. But did go all the way to the ace match. Did go to the Zerg. Congratulations to Bian. Bian also was able to, in a way, breeze his way through towards those grand finals as well with some 2-0s. So yeah, really strong performance here by the two players. Congratulations to Solar.
Indeed. Whew. Great showing.
Oh yeah. A very, very good showing.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I think that's actually going to be the end of what we see here from Solar. As yeah, we have a couple more events to cover that he that he was not a participant in.
Yeah. I guess to cap off Solar's redemption arc, that we mentioned it earlier, but that was the big rain bouts, right? The big rain bouts was yesterday, so that was like the kind of like cap on the week's run of Solar. So really, really strong run and really strong performances. That leads us into the Team Liquid Map Contest. So that wraps up our Open Cups. The TLMC 13. This is the big Team Liquid Map Contest event that was happening throughout the course of the past couple of weeks even. And I think at the time that we were hosting the previous podcast, I don't think the group stage had even ended. I think we were still
Group C, I think, was still underway at the time.
Yes. Group C was underway. I think, as always, we had some hope for Nikita, and it was actually almost a 3-way tie. Jesus.
Yeah. Very, very close. It came down to the map score in the end here. Mana just barely edging out Nikita over there, and Cure, of course, just barely edging out Mana.
Yeah, very, very close scores there. Mana, he popped off. I mean, so did Cure, so did Skills. They all had their own good results, but barely went the way of Mana over Skills. So congratulations, Mana does take the win, does advance on alongside Cure. Scrolling down, we had Group D. We had Bunny and Hero. I think Yeah, I think we were both on the Bunny and Hero hype train for that one, as they both do make it through.
I remember I was very much on the Bunny hype train. I don't remember if I predicted Hero or Lambo, but it was one of the two to make it out of Group D.
You might have gone for Rainbow in that one. You might have gone for Rainbow, but you did go for Bunny 100%.
I was full on Bunny, and oh boy, did he pop off in the playoffs.
Oh yeah. That leads us into the playoff bracket of the TLMC. That leads us into the quarterfinals. In the quarterfinals, we had Bunny versus Rogue, Cure versus Down, MaxPax versus Hero, and Clem versus Mana.
Honestly, quite a couple of upsets going on over here. Bunny versus Rogue, I can definitely see going either way, but I would not have really expected Bunny to completely sweep Rogue 3-0. Cure versus Zaun, I could also imagine going either way. I think I was actually leaning towards Zaun. I mean, I would have leaned towards Zaun if the playoff bracket was live at the time. But in the end, Cure was able to get a very strong victory. MaxPax versus Hero had a very close best of 5. They do go back and forth quite a bit, but in the end, it was MaxPax who went 4th this time. And then Clem versus Mana, the old man versus the young man on Team Liquid. In the end, went in favor of the young blood over there.
Yeah, but Mana took a game. I'm impressed. I don't know. He was able to make a series out of that. So it did take a game. So very impressive there by Mana. I would 100% agree in saying that I'm also surprised to see Bunny have a one-sided showing against Rogue, to have Cure advance on over Zaun. As you mentioned, Max Max and Hero could have gone either way. Could have gone either way
Yeah.
between the two of them, as it always does. That led us into the semifinals here. Clem took down Max Max 4-1. Again, Clem is still very much so a beast, still the best player in the world. Clem does show that here in the semis. Meanwhile, Bunny versus Cure went the distance.
It absolutely did. It's a best of 7 that absolutely went that distance. I am a little disappointed that Bunny wasn't quite able to close it out in the end there, but Cure winning, I'm a very big fan of this, because Cure beating Bunny in these semifinals meant that we had a Cure Clem grand best of 7 finals, and oh boy, I'm disappointed I wasn't able to catch this live. For those who have not been keeping up as much with Cure specifically, he has been the #1 Clem fanboy for at least ever since he joined Team Liquid, which I think was probably 2 or 3 years ago. And so to finally see Cure versus Clem in action, that was absolutely something.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And again, we did mention earlier to keep an eye on Clem's Protoss, because Clem this week specifically has been showing weakness in this matchup. He did go down to Cure here. He went to Beyond. He went down to Beyond. He went down to Gabe earlier, if you recall, in the Hub Cup as well. But Cure having a dominant performance here over Clem and showcasing that he has some of the best TVP in the world. So very impressive run there. Bearing in mind, of course, that there's also the X factor of the maps. True, like these are unique maps, and I'm sure for a lot of these players, they're playing on these maps for the first time, so that is a bit of an X factor, but regardless, strong result there by Cure.
Yeah, very nicely done. I think the first big kind of tournament like this, and well, I say big, it's still an online, but something that is listed as an A tier event here by Liquipedia that Cure's been able to win in quite some time.
Yeah, big win there. Big win for Cure. GG, well played. Very well done here as our new TLMC champion. I do recommend checking out the VODs, especially for the purposes of checking out the maps themselves. Definitely a lot of value in checking out the VODs of this event. That does lead us into our next big online event. Again, for the year of 2025 so far, it was Master Coliseum, into Little League Cup, into the OC Season 12 Championship, into the Pigsty Festival number 5. This has been the big event that everyone has been focusing on.
And it's still ongoing. In fact, as we speak, the lower bracket quarterfinals is underway.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's their last series of the night, so they are, in a way, wrapping up. We did go over the groups previously, went over the entirety of the group stage, and if you remember, the playoff bracket hadn't been seeded yet. No, sorry, it had been seeded, and we were trying to math it out. I remember specifically we were both on board on Zaun versus Clem. Like, we wanted Zaun versus Clem to be the finale, to be the grand finals. Yeah, and it is. Hey, they're in. It is still possible. They're on opposite sides of the bracket right now. So that's kind of what we were hoping for. But now we have some results coming in. Now we can have some greater predictions as we get into the event.
Indeed, we do. So obviously, 2 of our semifinalists that are going to be playing tomorrow are Hero versus Clem. Hero being able to beat Zaun 4-1, thus directly getting himself seeded into those semifinals. Zaun, on the other hand, got seeded because he lost to Zaun. Went down to the lower bracket quarterfinals, currently facing Shin, who beat Classic. Wow.
Yeah. So we have some results coming in, right? So Cyril beat Max 4-1. A big win there for Cyril. He gets his revenge for what happened in the League Cup. So Cyril showing that he's still in form, still the best Zerg player in the world. So big win there for Cyril. Likewise, as you mentioned, Hero took down Zaun. When it comes to the initial round in the lower bracket, Clem, he shows that he may have struggled with his Protoss in some of the other events. Here, he solidifies himself. He's like, yo, I refuse to switch to Terran and play TVTs. It is still not going to happen. I'm going to show you why I play Protoss. He 4-0s Bjorn, knocks him the hell out of the tournament. Get
Go back to the gym.
He cast him back to the gym. Oh, no. He threw some creatine in his face and just sent him out of here. Take your creatine. Oh, no. So congratulations to Clem, does eliminate Beyond from the tournament. And as you mentioned, Shin takes down Classic. Big win there for Shin. I think this is similar to, I want to say they played like in a Soup show match recently or something, like Shin versus Classic, where we also had like a similar result that was really surprising. No, sorry, I'm thinking of Shin versus Classic in, was it Fairy Cup?
Fairy Cup.
Was it Fairy Cup
Newly.
number 12? Hold on.
Super.
Hold on.
No, you already said supers.
There was either a
Ducklings
Little
go
League
down.
Cup. Hold on. Little League Cup 34. Yes, Little League Cup 34, where
There you go.
we had actually if you haven't looked it up, I'll link it to you here. But a Little League Cup 34, where we also had a very similar result as well. So Shin versus Classic has been going the way of Shin in recent times.
Yeah, Shin just kind of his kryptonite, but right now the perfect counter.
Yeah. So just some recent results here. So Shin takes on Classic, 4-1, and as you mentioned, now he's up against Zound. So we are kind of trimming through our players here. Also, sorry, I didn't mention it. Clem takes on Maxax. Close series, very close series. Went all the way to the ace match. Did barely go the way of Clem, but this also confirms that we will not have a Clem versus Maxax finals.
But do we really need one? We already have a best of 7 here in the lower bracket, going the distance all the way to Game 7. So
True.
it's not a finals, but still very, very intense nonetheless.
Yeah, very intense. That was because Cyril did knock Maxax down. So we have our 6 players remaining. Hero versus Clem, still about to go on. That's going to take place tomorrow. And Cyril tomorrow is going to be waiting for the winner of Zound and Shin. Do you still believe in the Clem versus Shin finals?
I feel like I'm.
Sorry, Clem
It's
versus Zound
faded.
finals.
I feel like it's faded at this point, right? Clem having such a close series against Maxfax, but being able to edge it out in the end. It has to be Zound versus. It has to be Zound versus Clem. It's been decreed by the heavens, the Ark.
Okay. You believe? Okay. So
I'm
then,
fully on the Zound hype train.
I have to test your resolve because I also want to see Clem versus Zound. I also want to believe that that's going to be a hype series. But does
You wanna
that
see
mean
Shin
you
versus
believe?
Cyril, don't you?
Does that mean you believe that Zound would beat Cyril?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
100% Zound hype train. He's gonna beat Cyril and then he's gonna beat Clem. But both his series against Cyril and his series against Clem, all the way to the ace match. Both of them.
Okay. Fair
And you know
enough,
what? He's gonna reverse sweep Clem.
Let's go.
Been decreed.
So you're leading into Clem versus Zound. I understand the hype. I want to get behind that. If only Cyril wasn't on the same side. I'm gonna have to falter. I'm gonna say,
Well, but PVZ right now is Protoss favorite.
True. But Cyril.
Not Cyril.
Yeah. I think so.
And
Right
he did
now,
beat Maxfax.
he did beat Max. He did beat Max Pax. I lean towards Cyril when it comes. I'm actually having a really hard time between Hero and Clem right now because they have been going back and forth. We even recently saw in this week's results, right? Like Hero has beaten Clem already this week. And they do trade very often. I would love to see another ace match. It is a hard one to call. I think what I'm gonna look in is. If this was start of the year, I would want to see Hero versus Cyril. I always love seeing Hero and Cyril play against each other. I always love seeing them face off. If this was last year, I'd say just Clem would just win it all. He'd just beat everyone. Do I believe in the Hero copium? Do I believe? You know what? You know what's gonna happen? Cyril's gonna win for Reddit. He's gonna he's gonna win just so Reddit can calm
piss
down.
off Reddit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
will it calm them
exactly.
down or will it make them angrier?
Oh no, it's hard to say.
He's
think,
got Reddit behind him. The power of Reddit fuels him.
I think if Hero beats Clem, then Cyril wins. I think if Clem beats Hero, then Clem wins.
Well, you're wrong either way. Because
it really You're like Zal's gonna.
You're wrong either way. You're wrong in every single facet. You know what, Zal? He's gonna go back and he's gonna play against Hero and beat Hero just cause. After the grand finals, he's gonna go up to Hero and be like, "Hey, let's fight." And he's gonna
all or nothing. Yeah.
He's gonna face everyone. He's gonna go up to Hero, Max Fax, Bjorn, all at the same time. 1v3. And he's gonna beat them all.
Let's go. And you know what? He's not even gonna play. He's gonna bring in classic, and he's gonna backseat classic. He's gonna backseat the hell out of classic, and then he's gonna win.
This is what you should have done.
Exactly.
Beat Zerg.
God damn. So look forward to some more Pigs Live Festival. Again, that's being played as we speak, and also played out tomorrow as well. That is going to be when the finals take place. Meanwhile, we have the next big online event before Stars Agora. Bearing in mind, Stars Agora qualifiers are over the next week, I believe, also tomorrow. But we have the Rex March Madness.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Indeed, we do. Not for basketball, but rather for StarCraft. And we already have our groups ready here.
Yeah, we actually did cover the qualifiers over the week, and where we had our 2 Terran players. We had Bjorn and Cure make it through. Just quickly go over the invited players are Hero, Max Down, Clem, Shin, and Solar. And of course, Bjorn and Cure from the qualifiers. And with that, we have, as you mentioned, our 2 groups.
These groups are absurd, by the way. You have Solar as a sole Zerg player against nothing but Protoss, and then you have Shin as a sole Zerg player against nothing but Terran.
I mean, what else? What could you do?
You could have swapped you could have swapped a Protoss player and a Terran
with a Terran. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Rex, why do you hate your why do you hate your Zerg brethren so much, Rex? What's going on? What's the narrative here?
There can be only one.
Oh no.
These are GSL style groups, by the way. I feel like we should point that out.
Yeah. These are going to be GSL groups. We have our 4 players, as you mentioned. We have Max, Hero, Zan, and Solar. We have Clem, Cure, Shin, and Bjorn. My question to you, Yaku, is Solar's redemption? It has to be. I was going to say, is Solar's redemption arc? Is it good enough to get out of this group? I will say this:
he's already beaten players in this group before this week.
He has beaten Max. He has beaten Hero. He's beaten Zan. What's scary about Group A? Solar, he's in a group with literally, I would say, these are the best 3 Protoss players in the world right now.
Players in the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You do not get better than Max, Hero, and Zan. Like, they are the best players right now. So that's you are putting Solar through the gauntlet of ZVP. That is crazy.
You know what? It's absolutely fitting for him. He has to face his demons, and what better way than to face the Arc Lords, the top bosses of Protoss right now.
This is the equivalent of, you have a kid who's afraid in the dark, and you throw them into just
you lock
the
them
abyss.
them in the bathroom. You don't turn on the lights. Did you not have that as kids? Was that not a common thing for you?
Oh no. And Solar, he has
not a family tradition for you?
He has to persevere. He has to survive.
He has to survive the night. He has to live until dawn.
Until dawn here for Solar, until dawn, and we'll see if he can make it through. I want to believe he can. As you said, right now Solar, he's peaking harder than he has in a very long time. This is the best Solar has looked in a long time.
Harder than when he was a Serral Slayer.
Exactly. This is his time to prove it to everyone that right now he is maybe even the best Zerg player in Korea, more than Shin, more than Dark even. Best of luck to Solar. Best of luck. Meanwhile, heading over to Group B.
I'm not sure I have as much faith in Shin, but you know.
No. He's not making it out of the group. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Yaku? That's not the question here. Okay, we know he's not making it out of the group. It's not Yaku. Okay, he's not making it out. No one is coping. About that. He's done. It's Rex. He just signed his death sentence right now. Okay. God damn it, Rex. God damn.
These are, without a doubt, some of the best TVZ players in the world. And unfortunately, I don't think Shin has enough plot armor to make it through. Not right now, anyway.
Nah, Solo's got all the plot armor is the problem. Like Solo, he's taking it all from. She's like, give me like a helmet or something, mate. Like, but look at this. Like, help me out. And Solo's like, nah, mate, I need all the help I can get.
You're on your own.
You're on your own. Locks the door behind him. Gets into the dark room willingly. Crazy. The question becomes: so Clem again. The Wikipedia page hasn't been updated because we haven't had the games, but we know Clem is going to play Protoss. And Clem has actually lost PBTs to both Bjorn and Kira in the past week. He's also gotten his revenge, don't get me wrong. Like we just showed that in the Pigsty Festival. He 4-0'd Bjorn with Protoss. So does Clem make it out? Does he get past these Terrans in PBT?
I think it's going to depend on who his opponents are.
Mm-hmm.
Or who he faces in in either the what's it called, the winners match or the final elimination match.
Yeah, because I feel like this is maybe like the best setup to eliminate Clem. Like I would say that throw him like some TVP. Like if Clem was in a group with Max Hero and Zan, I think Clem makes it out. Like but against other Terrans to force PVT, that I'm not so sure about.
I can see a scenario here, a very believable scenario for me, where you have Bjorn beat Clem in the first round, and then you have Cure beat Shin in the next round, and then you have Bjorn beat Cure in the winners round, and then you have a Cure Clem match in the elimination match, and in the decider match, that's what it's called. Not elimination, the decider match, and then that ends up going the way of Cure there. That is a scenario I can absolutely believe in. But if it doesn't pan out that way, I think I slightly favor Clem to make it out in this group.
Yeah, I agree. I think Clem makes it out of the group, but as you said,
that's a realistic scenario to me of Clem getting eliminated. Yeah,
the stars don't even have to align. Maybe like 1 or 2 stars align, and I can see a world where Cure eliminates Clem in the decider match. Like that can happen. So that is a threat. That is like Clem. It's not going to be an easy group for him. So he has to be careful getting into this. You know, he's got to brush up on his PBT a little bit. I mean, of course, he's still playing in the Pigsty Festival tomorrow, and I'm sure we'll be seeing some more of that. Oh no, never mind. He's the last Terran player in the tournament, so he's fine.
Yeah.
But that is something that's going to be put to the test. Just because Clem's PBT has been looking a little bit more shaky this week against
shaky.
Yeah, against Bjorn, against Gabe, against Cure. Like he's shown a bit of weakness. Not saying that he'll lose here, but he's shown that. I should say we've seen that Bjorn and Cure can take it to Clem.
Yeah. His shields can be breached. He can bleed, take hull damage.
He is mortal. He is mortal. He is a mortal man. We have seen that this week.
Someone's gonna have to take up that mantle.
Too soon.
Someone's gonna have to pick up that mantle.
No.
I think Rainer has expressed interest in it, but I mean, Rainer's a stallion. He's the Italian stallion. It's hard to believe him as a normal man, you know.
Maybe when he gets out of the rift, okay, maybe.
Sure, yeah, maybe. We'll see.
We'll see. So, coming into Group B, who are you leaning towards here? Because again, even though we're talking about the potential of Clem not making it out of the group, I think we both still favor him to make it out of the group. But if he were to, who would go alongside him?
Honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this because I'm such a huge Bjorn fan. But honestly, I think Cure recently. I've been really impressed with him. I love the fact that he was able to beat Clem, his idol, for such a long time. Obviously, that was in a TVP though, so maybe there's a little bit of resentment there from Cure. Like, I can't believe you would betray me like this and play Protoss. So, like, I think Clem and Cure, the Liquid Boys. But it also depends on how much iron Bjorn's been able to pump at the gym in the next 5 days, give or take.
Yeah. There we go. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on these two. So you're going Clem and Cure. I think I would say the same. I think I'll go alongside you there and say Clem and Cure. But like it's still going to be close. Like I'm excited to see TVTs between Cure and Bjorn. I'll be honest. I'll be excited for that.
But we're both in absolute agreement
No, yeah.
Shin
yeah.
is not making it out of this group.
No, 100%.
He might not be last. I'll give him that. He could come in third place.
Look,
But I
yo,
don't see a
look.
way for him to make it
Look,
out.
I want to make it clear as well. I love Shin. I'm a big Shin fan. I love him. I love him. He's beautiful. He's amazing.
I love his strats. I love his videos. I love his Ramyun.
Exactly. He's amazing. Okay, he's just been having a hard time recently.
Yeah.
He's having a hard time recently. We did see him take down Classic. Don't get me wrong. He's been popping off. Like he can pop off in DVP 100%. Against Terran, I'm less confident. I'll be honest. I'm less confident for Shin. So best of luck for Shin. I would love to see him make it out of the group.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what our minds think, the heart is with Shin for sure. The heart is with Shin.
I'm not sure if we locked in our picks for Group A yet. We both agree that Solar is going to continue.
Yeah. I think Solar has to. I think for his own mental state as well. Like he's
exactly
like everything's on the line for Solar.
If he doesn't make it out of this group, how much further will he sink in that villain?
You know what?
In this Moj.
I would say that because right now he's in this redemption arc. You know what? If Solar, I believe he will make it out of the group. If he doesn't make it out of the group, you know what's gonna happen? He's going to take down one of the big names in the process. Okay, if he doesn't get out, he's either going to eliminate Max Packs or Hero.
It'll be a sacrifice. Yeah.
he'll bring down one of the big names, and he can walk away with a smile on his face. Okay, like even if he doesn't make it out.
But thankfully, it won't come to that because Solar is obviously going to make it out first with Zao at number 2.
Oh, with
I'm
Zao.
still on that Zao train. Let's go.
Okay. Solar and Zao. Okay, I respect it. For sure. God.
All aboard, choo choo.
Fair enough. Now I was gonna say Solar and Hero. I was gonna say Hero to make it out of the group, but the problem is the starting matches. If you look at it, Solar plays against Hero first round.
And Solar's gonna beat him first round, so
he's gonna beat him. obvious. So this makes it difficult to predict both because one of them has to lose the first round, and it doesn't bode well for whoever does lose the first round. So it's a hard one. It's a hard one here. Do I see him bouncing back? Do I see? God, this is so hard for Solar. Solar, he's gonna beat Hero first round, mate. God damn.
Well, yeah, that's what makes it a redemption arc.
Yeah, it is. It does. Okay. You're going Solar and Sound. I'm gonna go Solar and. Go say Solar and Max Packs. I think Solar and Max Packs make it out. I think Solar beats Hero. Yeah, Max Packs beats Down. Sorry, Jakub.
No,
I think Max Packs beats. I think
Zao beats Hero, and then Zao beats Max Packs in the rematch. I'm with you there.
Okay.
I'm with you there.
God damn it. So best of luck. Regardless, best of luck to all the players. Of course, best of luck. My heart goes out to Shin. He's gonna need it. He's gonna. I hope he does have a good showing. I hope he makes it out of the group. Best of luck. Best of luck to Shin. But this is gonna be over the week, of course, in 4 days time, and we will be casting this over on the CranKy Ducklings here on our channel. We're gonna be covering this in English here over the next couple of days.
Yeah, Rex, of course, he'll be covering it, I believe, in Rex and Azure, possibly? He'll be covering it in Mandarin, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm sure there's going to be other casters. I'm sure there's going to be other casters covering this as well. So do check out the Rex March Madness. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be beautiful. And that does wrap up. That does wrap up our events for the week.
It does. But you know what? We got events coming up next week.
Mm-hmm. We do. We have the sign-up list. So if you want to tune in, if you want to take part in any of these events, more importantly, if you want to take part in Stars Agora, the qualifiers are open and they will be taking place over the next couple of days. Do check out the sign-up list, !sign-up list in the chat, and you'll get a link to all the events. Sparkling Tuna Cup alongside KSLs, War TV Mondays, Stars Agoras, Tenacious Total Tussles. There's a lot of events throughout the next couple of weeks. Do check them out through the sign-up list.
Once again, as a reminder, the NA qualifiers. The registration for the NA qualifiers actually just opened up today, so
Oh yeah.
do look into that if you are interested in competing, even if you are an amateur player. Just having fun.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, actually, they're right around the corner. The qualifiers, so do check them out. Likewise, if you want to help support the CranKy Ducklings, you can do so via the Patreon. Exclamation mark Patreon in the chat. You get a link to our Patreon page. Our Patreon does fund our tournaments. It funds our events like Sea Duckling Open, Masters One Open, and Sparkling Tuna Cup as well. It is all funded through Patreon, so you can help support us and support the scene and support the community. You can support StarCraft via Patreon.
That you can. And yeah, we missed a little bit in the 420 goal. We had it for a little while, but we are now a little bit short of that. However, we're only $6 USD short of that, so pretty close to our next stretch goal.
There you go. We are so close. We're so close to our next goal. You can help us reach it via Patreon by supporting us. Also, before I forget, I believe it was a long time ago at the start of the broadcast. But thank you so much, Rodin18, for resubscribing.
Oh,
for resubscribing for
that
17 months. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the support. We do appreciate it. Thank you so much. And again, hope you all enjoyed the content. If you want to tune into our VODs, check them out over on YouTube. YouTube is the place to be for VOD content we upload on a daily basis. Likewise, Yaku, where can we find more of you? Do we have any Brood War campaign on the horizon?
Maybe. I just found out today's St. Patrick's Day, apparently, so
Oh.
I missed out on the original plan of doing Protoss while also drinking. So that's not gonna happen yet.
Maybe, I guess it might be different in Singapore, but here it's on the 17th. 17th of
17th? I heard 15th.
of March.
Wait, when is St. Patrick's Day? Oh yeah, 17th. Why did I have 15th in my mind?
I don't know.
What's the day?
So, did you just give it away? Brood War stream Monday? Maybe?
Maybe. We'll see if I'm awake. And if I'm willing to part with the last reserves that I have of my whiskey.
Ah, no. Let's go.
I don't have a bottle to replace it yet, so.
Cherish
We'll
it.
see potentially. If that happens, then it's going to be over on twitch.tv/Yakuzaku1. I'll announce when I go live on Twitter.com as well as Blue Sky. Twitter.com, Emporia Yakuzaku, Blue Sky, Yakuzaku, or !Discord in the chat. It's where you find me, it's where you find Kuro, it's where you find Light, and most importantly, it's where you find the bot that announces when any one of us goes live. Also, you mentioned this at the very start of the broadcast, how campaign content does better on YouTube. I might have to look into dual streaming the Protoss campaign, Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't remember what my YouTube name is.
You'll figure it out. You'll get there.
You have two channels,
but
Yaku. I can tell you that.
You do have two channels, by the way.
I don't remember why I have two channels or why I separated them.
God damn it. But yeah, so you can check out Yaku's content. You can check out my own. I do stream. I have been streaming a little bit more regularly as of late. Some ladder sessions on my own personal channel. You can check me out there if you wish. But I typically only stream on days where we're not casting twice a day. But we're going to have a very, very busy week coming up ahead of us. Once again, we are back on that grind set coming into March. So a lot of content is going to be on the channel. A lot of StarCraft, a lot to jump into. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you're a part of that. Again, !Socials in the chat. You'll get a link to our social medias. We have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Mastodon, TikTok, all things CranKy Ducklings. So check us out.
AOL, Google Plus,
Ventrilo, TeamSpeak,
TeamSpeak, WeChat, Line.
So check us out on your preferred platform of choice. We are on all things CranKy Ducklings. Otherwise, check out our YouTube, and thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, this is a weekly show. We'll be back next week to catch up on the results of the Pigsty Festival.
And not on Saturday.
Not on Saturday. We're going to be back next week on Friday.
There we go.
At least for now. That's a schedule. Yeah.
So we remember when we said March was gonna be lighter for us.
It was for like a week. It was like it was, yeah. Yeah, it's like a week. That was a good week. It was good. Goal lasted.
Cherish it.
Let's go. With that, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for the support. Check out Kuro. Kuro is our producer, of course, for the show. So big shout out to Kuro for actually making sure the event does, or the show does, run smoothly. We'll see you guys tomorrow for our next event. We're going to be casting the Sparkling Tuning Cup. A bit of a heads up: we were going to be casting the Host Masters, but the Host Open, I should say, but the Host Open has rescheduled because of Amantes de StarCraft. We might actually cast that instead. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see, yeah.
Otherwise, thanks for watching. Sparkling Tuning Cup next tomorrow.
Yeah.
See you then.
See you then.
Oh yeah, and don't forget to vote for TLMZ.
Yeah. But vote after you.